Every time I strike an iron sword, this can add 3 extra days to your lifespan. This is also the ability I gained after crossing over. As long as you keep tapping the jadeite, their lifespan will continue to increase. Ding ding dong dang. Several years passed. My life has lasted a full 120,000 years, but I couldn't feel happy at all, because I can only cultivate in the mortal world a protective steel weapon that cannot cut through immortals, unable to wield the sword to become the wind. What meaning does immortality have? Until one day decades later. Only then did I realize that longevity fate can also be used as a furnace to burn. That day, I was just about to finish the last knife for the regular patrons in town. A wave of red suddenly erupted from the blacksmith's furnace, a remnant soul of an ancient god sealed within a broken sword. It floated above my head. The remnant soul's eyes shimmered with a faint, weathered light, staring at me intently. He let out a cry as if from ancient times. Ordinary people, the fire of life within you. It was actually this enormous. It's simply unheard of. Ha ha ha. And see what has never been seen. This is truly a perfect honor bestowed upon me by heaven. I frowned slightly. He slowly lowered the hammer in his hand. Watching the translucent shadow drifting in the air, he asked calmly, "Who are you? Why hide in my pile of scrap iron?" That remnant soul stood proudly in midair. It emitted a faint yet extremely high-level pressure, helpless against the 9 nether soldiers. 10,000 years ago, a divine general who commands the divine weapons of the heavens. Kid, if you are willing to become a shaman as your master, the shaman will teach you how to truly apply it. Your endless beast source. A sudden jolt ran through my heart. Beast sources can also be used for combat. Could it be that it's not just for survival? Foolish. Ordinary people only know the blessings for longevity, but they don't realize that the beast essence is the purest source of life in the world. If you bring the beast element into the furnace as firewood, it can ignite supreme heavenly fire. He forged a peerless divine weapon that even immortals would not know to tremble. And that's not all. You can also infuse your beast essence into yourself. Gain a 10 million-fold combat power boost in a short time, as long as the beast essence is not exhausted. You are the immortal god of war. After hearing these words, the long calm sea of my heart finally surged with a towering storm, a longevity fate of 120,000 years. If all of it were converted into combat power, then I can walk around here with confidence. Thinking of this, I took a deep breath. He immediately decided to give it a try. I looked at the half-finished kitchen knife in my hand. A thought stirred in his heart. He tried to mobilize that mysterious power within his body, burning a year's worth of longevity. In an instant, a wisp of golden flame, invisible to ordinary people, flowed from my fingertips. It directly entered the bee furnace before him. With a whoosh, the originally ordinary red charcoal stove instantly turned a deep purple gold color. The high-temperature continuous air began to twist slightly. I picked up the hammer. He smashed it down fiercely at the red-hot iron block. There should be a loud bang. The sound of this strike was crisp and melodious. It was like the Huangzhong Da Lu vibrating in his ears, amidst the swirling iron crabs. Oh my god. You actually have a spiritual spirit within your anti-iron. Is this the power of burning lifespan? I was overjoyed. He felt his whole body filled with strength. Originally extremely heavy, the heavy black iron hammer now feels as light as a feather in my hand. I kept hammering again and again. Every strike was accompanied by the burning of the beast source. Although each burn only lasts a few days, but the texture of the iron tool underwent a dramatic transformation. Back when I was happily boating, suddenly, the blacksmith's door was kicked open. Lin Fan, how many times have I told you, we want this shop? Why aren't you getting lost? I frowned slightly. This young man was named Zhao Wuqi. He is the young master of the Zhao family, the largest cultivation family in town. Next to Zhao Wuji was a middle-aged man dressed in a white robe. Lin Fan, this was Leng Wushuang, the immortal of the Xuanyu sect. The immortal has noticed the faint spiritual veins hidden in the foundation of your land. A palace was to be built here. You're just a mortal blacksmith. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and take the silver and get lost. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude. This blacksmith shop is my ancestral legacy. I don't sell. Zhao Wuji looked as if he'd just heard the biggest joke in the world. Ha ha ha. But it was not sold. Hey, you're a useless person who doesn't even have a chi refiner, and you dare to tell immortals that it's not slow. Immortals crush you to death, as easy as crushing an ant. The Xuanyu sect immortal stepped forward, looking down at me from above. He spoke with a calm expression. Mortals are not involved in the world of cultivation. I remember how hard your cultivation is. Leave quickly. The eyes suffer pain from the flesh. I looked at this lofty immortal. There was not a trace of fear or doubt in his heart. It even made me want to laugh a little. Although I don't have any immortal arts, but I have 120,000 years to live. If you want my shop, that's fine too. That's fine, as long as you can take my blade. What an arrogant mortal. Today I'll show you what it means to distinguish between the mortal and the mortal. After speaking, he waved his sleeve, and a flying sword emitting a faint blue glow whistled through the air. Floating in front of him, the spiritual sword energy emanating from the flying sword tore through the surrounding air. Immortal Master Lung, teach this kid a lesson and let him understand why the flowers are. This is how red it is. I took a deep breath and gripped the ordinary kitchen knife I had just quenched. During the forging of this knife, I burned a full 10 years of luck. Although his appearance still looked pitch black, but the internal structure has already undergone transformation. Ice Block shouted in my mind. Kid, don't be timid. Infuse your beast source into the blade. Give it some color to see. I silently recited in my heart. 50 years of beast rain burn. With a boom, a surge of wildlife energy surged through my meridians into the kitchen knife. The originally ordinary kitchen knife faintly revealed a mysterious layer of golden patterns on its surface. The Xuanyu sect immortal snorted coldly. Go. The starlight flying sword turned into a streak of light, heading straight for my chest. His speed was as fast as lightning. If it were me before, you can't even see clearly. But at this moment, with Shoyuin burning brightly, the ship's speed became incredibly slow in my eyes. I slowly raised my right hand. He casually swung his blade. When a deafening explosion rang out, the raging energy radiated outward from me. He directly flipped half of the blacksmith's roof off. Zhao Wuji and the servants were shaken by the shockwave. In utter disarray, the next moment, the crisp cracking sound sounded especially harsh in the silent air. Whoosh! Leng Wushuang spat out a mouthful of blood, his face instantly turning deathly pale. He stared in disbelief at the debris on the ground, then looked up at me, his voice trembling as he shouted, "That's impossible! That's impossible! You're clearly just a mortal. How could he possibly shatter my low-grade spiritual weapon with a single strike?" I stood quietly in place holding a kitchen knife, my expression calm. It seems even the sword of an immortal is nothing special. Zhao Wuji was already terrified stiff by now, collapsing to the ground, not daring to move. He couldn't even utter a complete sentence. In his eyes, he was an omnipotent immortal. He was actually instantly killed by a mortal blacksmith with a single strike. This completely overturned his perception. Leng Wushuang struggled to get up. His eyes were filled with terror. He knew he had hit a wall today. He hurriedly grabbed Zhao Wuji and fled in panic. I watched their departing figures. I didn't chase after it. Instead, he lowered his head to look at the kitchen knife in his hand. His heart was filled with wild joy. This burning beast warrior's combat power boost. It was truly unbelievable. Only 50 years of experience as a beastman. It gave me the strength to instantly kill cultivators. Then what about my 120,000-year beastman? Once everything burned, how terrifying would it be? The soldier clan was also amazed in my mind. Kid, your aptitude may be average, but this beast essence is average. But this beast essence stock is simply extraordinary. But you made a big commotion just now. Soon, even stronger killers will be drawn in. I nodded. He deeply understands the importance of keeping talent hidden, let alone such an extraordinary secret. In the following days, I shut myself indoors and didn't go out, while continuing to forge iron and accumulate beast rewards. Meanwhile, countless defensive and invisible arrays were set up around the blacksmith's shop, even for safety reasons. I also used the hidden medical divine rumor I'd studied for years, completely isolating the entire blacksmith's aura. On the third day after I finished all this, suddenly, a terrifying pressure came from the sky. I was startled. Looking out through the formation, he saw a middle-aged man dressed in a white robe stepping on the fragrant forest. He rushed toward my blacksmith shop. The speed was so fast it left behind countless after-images, absolutely incomparable to mortal cultivators. Could it be that a powerful figure from the Xuanyu sect has come knocking? I stamped with one hand. All the invisibility arrays were activated instantly. In an instant, the once dilapidated blacksmith shop vanished into thin air on the spot. All that remained was a wasteland. However, the white-robed middle-aged man stopped above the blacksmith's shop. He stopped holding the empty space in his hand. He held a compass radiating multicolored light. His brows furrowed slightly, muttering to himself, "Strange. The Xiantian compass clearly showed it was this place. Why is it so desolate? Could it be that someone has set up a profound and secret grand formation here? Inside the formation, my heart felt like a vast ocean. The aura around this guy was as unfathomable as an abyss. He was definitely a true ancestor who transcended the boundaries of the mortal world. What exactly is his purpose in coming to see me? Just as I was puzzled, the middle-aged man in the white robe snorted coldly, with a gentle wave of his large hand. Suddenly, a slender green swept down like the sky shattering and the earth shattered. Hongran crashed onto my grand formation. Rumble. The raging energy instantly tore apart dozens of engine and defense arrays I was proud of. The blacksmith shop appeared once again. I only felt a tightness in my chest. He staggered back more than 10 steps before standing. The middle-aged man in the white robe looked down at me from above. A trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. Sure enough, it was here. He actually managed to block a casual strike from me. You, a mere mortal, are quite interesting after all. I took a deep breath. He forcibly suppressed the surging energy and blood within his body. He bowed respectfully, neither humble nor arrogant. Greetings, senior immortal. I do not know that you have come from afar. What noble position do you have? Helplessly, the upper realm sent the immortal envoy, Baiyu Zhenren, ordered to descend to the mortal world and take away all beasts and apes with abnormalities. Follow me to the immortal realm and become immortals. And became immortal. I heard those 2 words. There was not a trace of excitement in his heart. Instead, a strong sense of caution arose. There's no such thing as a good thing in the world. This Baiyu Zhenren remained cold and indifferent, and directly used his power to break my grand formation. No matter how you look at it, it doesn't seem like they're taking me to enjoy life. Besides, my current lifespan is a full 120,000 years. If a powerful figure from the immortal realm discovers it, they might just treat me like some genius or treasure to train. Thinking of this, I replied respectfully, "Thank you, immortal, for your great favor. But I still have an unresolved karmic connection in the mortal world. I have a female apprentice. His name was Jiyu Shishue. Heaven has severed its veins, and his life is not long. I promised to take care of her for life. I wonder if the immortal would allow me to accompany her. Actually, this is Jiyu Shishue. It was a device I found 3 years ago. Now I am only 18 years old, innocent and radiant, although he couldn't cultivate it. But his talent for chi refining is extremely high. I had already taken him as a disciple. I don't feel at ease leaving him in the mortal world. If Master Baiyu refused, then I have no choice but to fight to the death. Just mortal women. But since you insist on bringing it, then take it with you. Hurry up. My time is limited. I breathed a sigh of relief. He hurried into the inner room. He woke up the sleeping Jiyu Shishue. He briefly explained a few words. He then led her out of the blacksmith castle. Jiyu Shishue hid behind me, a little scared. A pair of big, watery eyes curiously sized up Master Baiyu in the sky. Master Baiyu stopped wasting words. With a wave of his sleeve, a cloud of white pulled us up. In an instant, it turned into a streak of light and vanished into the horizon. On the way, I watched as the mountains and rivers of the mortal world receded rapidly. His mind was filled with countless thoughts. Master Baiyu took us to the central region of the mortal realm. There were already over 100 people gathered here. The central area of the mortal world. There were already over 100 people gathered here. I took a closer look. He discovered that all these people were top experts in the mortal world. The life force around each person was exceptionally strong. Among them were even some old monsters whose lifespans were nearing their end. They were gathered together at this moment. His complexion was rosy. His eyes were full of smiles toward the immortal realm, not sucking blood, tightly tugging at my sleeve. Master, I feel like everyone here is really impressive. Are we really going to the immortal realm? I gently patted the back of his hand, signaling him not to be afraid, but inwardly, he was sneering. These people think they are here to enjoy life, but they don't realize that what awaits them may be an abyss of no return. Half an hour later, suddenly, 5 powerful figures appeared in the sky. Each of them held a black crystal compass in their hands, accompanied by their unison chanting the spell. The 5 compasses converged together. It burst forth with dazzling light. A massive black hole was torn open in the sky. The fairy channel opened. Everyone, enter quickly. Master Baiyu shouted coldly. Over 100 cultivators immediately sprang up in a frenzy. They scrambled to fly into the black hole. I mingled with the bloodthirsty crowd and followed her in. After a dizzying sensation, we found ourselves at the foot of a vast, ethereal immortal mountain. The immortal energy here was so dense it seemed almost tangible. Oh my God! I feel like I'm about to break through my bottleneck. Just then, a middle-aged man in a red robe appeared before us out of thin air. His expression was extremely proud. Looking down at us, he spoke slowly. I am Mo Qianshan, a Mohist steward in the immortal realm. From now on, you are the Mohist family's menial disciples, and will be under my jurisdiction. Behind you, the immortal mountain has countless cave dwellings. You may choose to live in one place yourself. In addition, this is the special gift from the main family, the Tozen Maru. After taking it, within half a day, I can help you break through to mortals. It can help you break through mortal limits, truly ascending to immortality. After speaking, he raised his finger. Countless golden lights shot out, transforming into golden pills emitting a strange medicinal fragrance. It landed precisely in front of everyone. Everyone looked at the golden core before them. His eyes were full of greed and fanaticism. He wished he could swallow it right away. I reached out to take the golden core. In an instant, a faint spiritual energy enveloped the golden core, prevent it from coming into direct contact with my skin. I looked at Mo Qianshan's seemingly gentle yet actually extremely cold gaze. The ominous desire in his heart grew stronger and stronger. There is no such thing as a free lunch. The Mohists went to great lengths to bring us up from the mortal world. Definitely not for charity. There must be something wrong with this Ascension King. Mo Qianshan waved his hand, signaling us to disperse. Each sought out their own cave dwelling to cultivate. After everyone expressed their deep gratitude, he hurriedly flew toward the immortal mountain, because everyone can see it. The closer you get to the summit, the stronger the immortal aura becomes. I pulled Gu Shishue along, walking at the very back at a leisurely pace. Master, shouldn't we hurry up and grab a better cave dwelling? Silly girl. The trees stand out on the head. The trees stand out more than the forest, closing the door to delay the delay. Let's just pick a remote spot. Finally, we chose a very inconspicuous, abandoned cave halfway up the mountain. After entering the cave dwelling, the first thing I did was not practice. Instead, he quickly set up more than a dozen concealed and aura-blocking formations around the cave residence. Make sure people outside can't peek at everything here. After all this was done, I took out the Dengxian pill, placed on the ground. Gu Shishue curiously leaned in. Master, can this elixir really make us immortal? The immortal realm is survival of the fittest. Caution is unavoidable. Shuer, step back first. I took out a set of energy-based appraisal formations. This was made from rare treasures I had accumulated over years of ironwork in the mortal world. It can analyze the ingredients of any pill. I placed the lamp immortal pill in the center of the formation. His divine consciousness stirred slightly. Activate the formation. A moment later, a wisp of black mist appeared on the formation. A faint, piercing insect chirp could be heard from within the mist. My pupils suddenly locked shut. Clearly, there was a problem. This lamp immortal pill actually contained an extremely hidden and vicious GU worm. It is called the soul-slaying hidden fate GU. Once this GU worm enters the human body, it can indeed instantly unlock potential. It allows people to break through realms in a short period of time, but at a cost. It truly binds the lives and souls of cultivators tightly to the master of the mother GU. As long as the other party had a thought, it can instantly drain all the beast essence and cultivation of the user. Such ruthless tactics. The Mohist school isn't even recruiting disciples. Instead, they were raising a beast mother who could be slaughtered at any time. Gu Shishue saw the black mist. His face turned pale with fright. If Mo Qianshan finds out we haven't taken the elixir, yours? I snorted coldly. A cold glint flashed in his eyes. Don't worry, there is a master who is present. No one can hurt you. Luckily, I didn't take this poisonous pill. In less than half a day, Mo Qianshan would definitely come to check the results. If I don't present it, it would definitely arouse his suspicion. Since you can't take medicine, then I can only force my way through on my own. I looked at the dense immortal aura inside the cave dwelling. He silently recited in his heart, "The 9 Nether Ice Squad is here to protect me." The phantom of the ice group floated out from within me. Kid, you now only have a lifespan of 120,000 years. If he didn't rely on the elixir to break through, it requires massive energy support. What are you planning to do? I gritted my teeth. You can't catch a wolf if you can't let go of your child. Burning 3 years of longevity fate. Several states shattered the mirror, following my flower rhythm as I descended. The lifespan within my body instantly shrank by 3 years. In its place was a terrifying, indescribable primordial power. For years of madness in my meridians, I activated the 9 nether body severing technique that the 9 nether ice set taught me. He channeled this power toward the blue immortal barrier within his body. The immortal energy around the cave residence is drawn by the primordial power within my body, frantically converging toward me. A huge vortex of immortal energy formed above my head. A huge vortex of immortal energy formed above my head. My bones are smacking down. The meridians are constantly being widened and reorganized. That kind of pain is like what if it's your heart. But I didn't even make a sound. He gritted his teeth and held on. Time ticked by second, only the time it takes to burn an incense stick before the half-day deadline. The barrier within my body was finally battered by the golden torrent. It shattered with a roar. Wind, an incredibly powerful shockwave exploded from my body, crushed the rubble inside the cave dwelling. I slowly opened my eyes. Golden lightning flickered faintly in his eyes. I succeeded. I have not only successfully entered the focus hall, he became a true immortal, and since I broke through by burning my primordial beast source, the foundation is incredibly solid. The thread particles inside her body were more than 10 times more robust than those of the same realm. What surprised me even more, after the breakthrough, my beast source limit has skyrocketed by 30,000 years, plus the previous expenses. I now have a full 149,997 years of lifespan. I stood up, looking at Ji Shishue, who was standing nearby in shock. He smiled slightly. Sure. Time has already broken through. Now it's up to you. Ji Shishue, now it's up to you. Although Ji Shishue couldn't cultivate, but earlier, I secretly used a secret technique to disguise her aura as if she had already become an immortal. As long as Mo Qianshan didn't need to probe carefully with his divine sense, there was absolutely no way to find any flaws. We stepped out of the cave dwelling. They arrived at the square at the foot of the mountain. By now, the square was already packed with people. Most people's faces were beaming with excitement. Clearly, they all thought they had turned misfortune into a blessing. He rose to the top in one leap. Mo Qianshan stood in midair, hands behind his back. He looked down at everyone with a cold expression. His aura was even deeper and more terrifying than before. Clearly, their strength was immense. When the time came, Mo Qianshan spoke slowly. There was no emotion in her voice. Everyone, quickly step out in rank. Those slightly slow, dawned movements were utterly dissipated. He rolled and crawled to the center of the square. Mo Qianshan's cold gaze swept through the crowd. Why haven't the 4 of you become immortals? Elder Mo, please spare me. We are self-made dull. We are self-made dull. He couldn't digest the essential power of the elixir. We beg the elders to give us another chance. Since he couldn't become an immortal. So for you, the Mohist family, then it has no value. As soon as he finished speaking, Mo Qianshan snapped his fingers. For faint red beams, it fell into the bodies of those 4. The next second, under everyone's shocked gazes, the bodies of those 4 suddenly began to swell rapidly. Even his soul was completely erased. The thick smell of blood filled the air. The excited crowd instantly felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave. Mo Qianshan clapped his hands. As for the rest, you are very obedient. Our Mohist family will certainly not treat you unfairly. Starting today, you are the authorized servants of the Mohists. As long as you behave, you can survive. If there is a divided heart, their fate, it is your precious medicine. Everyone looked at each other in confusion. His eyes were full of fear and confusion. One of them, an ancient cultivator who had lived for over 1,000 years, trembled as he stepped forward. He asked respectfully, and reported to the immortal Mo, "May I ask, what does this authorization mean?" A cruel smile curled at the corner of Mo Qianshan's mouth. "You obtained the elixir from my Mohist family, and thus attained immortality. Your lives naturally belong to the Mo family. Since the fate belongs to the Mo family, then the longevity fate within your bodies naturally belongs to the Mo family as well. From now on, our family provides you with cultivation resources every month, wishing you breakthroughs. But after each breakthrough, your lifespan increases. 90% must be handed over to the Mohists." He could only leave behind 1,000 years of survival. Hearing this, I couldn't stop sneering in my heart. Just as I expected, the Mohists treat us like chives to be harvested. Cultivation is fundamentally for immortality, but the lifespan these people had painstakingly cultivated. In the blink of an eye, 90% of it was about to be forcibly taken by the Mo family. How is this any different from the livestock waiting to be slaughtered in a pigsty? Moreover, Mo Qianshan mentioned the method of collection. This indicates that the Mohists possess some kind of malicious artifact or formation that can take away others' lifespans. The beast source within me is extremely vast. If they find out, he would definitely die without a grave. I had to find a way out as quickly as possible. Mo Qianshan seemed to see through some people's intentions. He sneered. I know some of you are definitely thinking of running away. However, I advise you to put away those little schemes. The Dengxian pill you took, it contains the unique secret art of our Mohist school. If there is no annual antidote, your body and soul will be in countless layers of heartfelt pain, rotting inch by inch. Eventually, it turned into a pool of muddy water. If you don't believe me, you can experience it for yourself. After speaking, Mo Qianshan took out a pitch-black one. It was carved with countless skulls of evil spirits. He gently shook the skull. The wailing and howling of ghosts and wolves instantly echoed across the square. The next moment, a series of piercing screams erupted from the crowd. The cultivators who had taken the golden core all wore expressions of misery and love. He collapsed to the ground in pain, beating drums wildly. It looked extremely grotesque and detestable. I was startled. He thought to himself that this was bad. I didn't take that golden elixir at all. If there is no reaction at all, Mo Qianshan would definitely see through the floor. I gritted my teeth decisively, blending in with the crowd. He collapsed onto the ground, hands on the head. He showed an expression of extreme pain and ferocity. It even let out a few realistic screams. Jiu Shishui, hinted at by me. He also squatted to the side, his face pale as if he were a dead end. His whole body trembled uncontrollably. Mo Qianshan looked at the scene of utter misery on the ground. A trace of satisfaction flashed in his eyes. Now you know how impressive it is, right? As long as you behave, I will naturally distribute the antidote to you on time. Now, we want it. Now everyone is following me to the myriad soldiers immortal. Hand over your first batch of beast sources. Mo Qianshan waved his hand. He summoned a massive flying vessel radiating dazzling jade light. The flying boat radiated an extremely powerful defensive Dharma body aura. Clearly, it was a rare and demanding task. I lowered my head and followed everyone onto the flying boat one by one. As soon as he stepped onto the flying boat, I keenly sensed a powerful divine stone sweeping through my body. But the 9 nether body severing technique within me, I've already kept my beast source and cultivation fluctuations completely hidden. The disguise was exactly the same as an ordinary concentration mirror. The flying boat swiftly traversed the void. After a moment, they landed on a vast black wasteland. In the center of the wasteland stands a towering black tower. The tower was surrounded by a thick aura of death and resentment. Countless shadows of divine weapons, filled with fierce aura, flickered around the giant tower. This is the dust of 10,000 soldiers and immortals. It's also forbidden ground for our Mohist family. Once inside, there will be spirits of immortal dust asking you, how many lifespans are willing to be sacrificed? Each of you must sacrifice 30,000 years of life. After the sacrifice, the immortal dynasty will determine the lifespan of your sacrifices. I grant you a corresponding treasure. After handing over the treasures, only then can you receive this month's brocade birds and resources. If anyone dares to take shortcuts, the lifespan of the sacrifice is insufficient. Do not blame me for being heartless. I listened to Mo Qianshan's words. He began to calculate in his heart. It seems this 10,000 soldiers immortal seed. It is the tool Mohists use to deprive and convert lifespan. But the good news is, Mo Qianshan himself seemed unable to directly inspect it. How much lifespan do we actually have inside us? You can only judge whether we're trapped enough by the treasure level feedback from planting first. This gives me a huge range of hands-on experience. At the entrance to the Black Giant Tower, a faint blue light screen flickered. Although everyone was deeply reluctant to part, but under Mo Qianshan's butcher's blade intimidation, he could only grit his teeth and give one. They could only grit their teeth and walk in one after another. Jiu Shishue and I walked at the back of the crowd. As soon as it passed through the light screen, the scene before them changed dramatically in an instant. We found ourselves in a boundless starry sky. Beneath my feet was empty void. Countless powerful magical treasures radiating various lights floated around them. Just then, a voice of sorrow seemed to come from ancient primordial times. It exploded in my mind. Trialist. What kind of divine weapons do you seek? How many lifespans must be sacrificed? Along with this voice, A massive flood of information flooded my mind. I instantly understood the rules here. Among the myriad soldiers' immortal seeds, treasures are divided from immortal grade 1 to immortal grade 10. Each grade is further divided into lower grades, average, superior and absolute equal, offering 30,000 years of longevity. Grants immortal grade 3 treasures, offering 80,000 years of longevity. You can obtain the immortal for bottle treasures, and offered sacrifices lasting 180,000 years of longevity. You can obtain the legendary immortal grade 5 supreme treasure. I looked at the magical treasures in the void, radiating an enticing light. His heart burned with passion. My lifespan in my body is now close to 150,000 years. If it were just a single immortal 3-bottle treasure, I only need to sacrifice 30,000 years of lifespan. The rest of his life, I can easily use it to exchange for some peerless divine weapons for self-defense for myself and Ji Shishue. As long as I don't bring out these good things, Mo Qianshan would never know. Thinking of this, I took a deep breath, silently reciting in his heart, offering sacrifices for 30,000 years of longevity. Boom! I only felt a violent surge of vitality within me. It was pulled out by an invisible force. Immediately after, a beam of golden light descended from the void, landed right in front of me. The light faded, a sword radiating scorching fire-type energy, quietly floating in midair. A top-grade treasure of the 3rd grade of immortals. Lehua Immortal Sword. I reached out and gripped the hilt. He felt a surge of violent immortal energy. It flowed into my body along the blade. No wonder it's a top-tier 3rd grade immortal treasure. If this happened in the mortal world, it would definitely trigger a frenzied battle among countless cultivators. However, this sword would be handed over to Mo Qianshan later. I don't regret it, because I still have plenty of beast essence to squander. That weathered voice rang out again. Trialist, you still have a deficiency in beast essence within you. Whether to continue the sacrifice. A golden glint flashed in my eyes. He thought to himself, give it your all. I have to get myself and Shuya some trump cards that can truly defend or even turn the tables. I still have 19,997 years of beast essence left. I have decided to sacrifice the 80,000 year beast essence once again, in exchange for a 4th grade immortal divine weapon, offering sacrifices for 80,000 years of longevity. In an instant, the longevity fate within me had once again shrunk by a large chunk. Meanwhile, the entire starry sky began to tremble slightly. A blue divine light howled in from the depths of the starry sky. Finally, it transformed into a blade that was crisp and jade-like all over. A long sword radiating endless vitality and the will of destruction. Immortal grade 4. An unparalleled divine weapon. Qing Emperor's Sword of Creation. Looking at this sword, even the 9 nether troops in my mind couldn't help but exclaim, this is the Qing Emperor's divine sword. Within this Azure Emperor creation sword, a trace of the Azure Emperor's incessant vitality was conveyed. As long as you still have a breath left, this sword continuously provides you with vitality, and the power is immense. It was definitely the finest among the 4th grade immortals. My heart was filled with joy. He hurriedly stored the Azure Emperor creation sword deep within the system space. Use a secret technique to completely seal its aura. Next, I looked at the remaining 39,997 years of lifespan. A decisive 39,997-year birthday fate. He decided to go all out, sacrifice again for 30,000 years. This time, I intend to exchange for Ji Shishue's self-defense artifact. This is the 30,000-year beast fate. Another beam of purple light fell from the void. It transformed into a palm-sized purple jade rui, a 3rd grade immortal self-defense treasure. Heaven's will is as it wishes. On this day, Shin Rui can be used when the host's life is in danger. Automatically triggered a peak expert strong enough to withstand the concentration mirror. A full-power defensive shield. Moreover, it can conceal the aura of cultivators. It was none other than Ji Shishue, who had no cultivation at all. I happily put away Tianqin Rui. At this point, my beast fate was down to 9,997 years, although much less than before. But as long as I keep forging iron and dancing in the green dance, beast sources can be replenished at any time. Just as I was about to leave with Ji Shishue, suddenly, I noticed something in the void not far away. A petite figure was lying on the ground. The breath of life was extremely weak. I frowned slightly. He walked over to take a look. He discovered it was a young woman dressed in white. She was extremely beautiful, cold and clear as the moon. But at this moment, her face was as pale as paper. The vitality within his body was almost completely exhausted. Even souls began to appear. Almost exhausted, even the soul began to show signs of dissipating. The 9 nether troops said in my mind in surprise. This girl actually possessed the Wugo sword body of Han Sword Supreme. Unfortunately, she forcibly communicated with a divine weapon that surpassed her own limits. This led to his lifespan being backfired on the spot. Now, he has less than 10 days left to live. If there is no opportunity to defy heaven, death is certain. Without constructing a sword-like form, my heart stirred. This is a 1-in-a-million peerless sword cultivation genius. If he could take her as a disciple, it will definitely be a great help for me in the future. Anyway, I still have over 9,000 years left to live. It wouldn't matter if she was just alive. I crouched down. He slowly poured a strand of pure life force into her body along her forehead. At the same time, he silently recited in his heart, burning 500 years of life fate, and infused it into this woman's body. Boom! As my fate burns with longevity, a fast and gentle torrent of life instantly surged into the white-clad woman's limbs. 100 Cs. The fire of life within her had already been exhausted. At that moment, miraculously revived, even her damaged soul began to be rapidly repaired. A moment later, the woman in white slowly opened her eyes, revealing a pair of cold, confused eyes. She looked at me. His voice was a bit hoarse. Yes. You saved me. They are just old enough to raise a hand. I see you are naturally intelligent. But he nearly lost his life because of the outside world. Are you willing to become my disciple? Follow me in cultivation. The woman in white struggled to sit up. She could feel that energy within her, the vitality that had completely vanished. At this moment, the situation was surging violently. This is absolutely an unimaginable, heaven-defying technique. She didn't hesitate at all. He knelt down right in front of me. He respectfully kowtowed 3 times. Disciple Liu Ruyan. Greetings to Master. Thank you, Master, for saving my life. A system immediately sounded in his mind. A system notification sound immediately rang in his mind. Congratulations to the host for successfully taking on a disciple. Obtained the heaven-defying aptitude female disciple Liu Ruyan. I was overjoyed. He quickly helped her up. Then he handed her the Lihua immortal sword he had just obtained. After the bleeding occurs, you should hand this sword over to Mo Kunshan. Remember, never reveal our relationship. Although Liu Ruyan didn't know why I was doing this, but she is a smart person. He immediately nodded in agreement. I led Jiyu Shishue and Liu Ruyan to the exit. As soon as it passed through the light screen, he returned to the wasteland. At this moment, Mo Qianshan was sitting cross-legged in midair. He coldly looked down at the people who had just stepped out. Mo Qianshan waved his hand grandly. An invisible sharpness erupted in one step, though everyone felt blood in their hearts. But they didn't dare to resist. They all threw the 3rd-grade immortal treasures they had obtained over them. Mo Qianshan looked at the hundreds of 3rd-grade immortal treasures floating before him. A trace of greed and satisfaction flashed in his eyes. However, his face quickly darkened. He shouted coldly, "Very good. It seems you're all pretty honest. However, to prevent anyone from tearing up good things, now, everyone, put your storage bags, and all personal clothing were released. Undergo my divine sense examination." Hearing this, several people in the crowd instantly turned deathly pale. Clearly, he was hoping for a chance. He secretly hid even better magical treasures inside. A spiritual surge in my heart, yet there was no sign of panic. I quietly circulated the 9 nether body severing technique within my body. He will hide the Azure Emperor creation sword, and the hidden formation of Tianqin Ruri completely retracted. At the same time, he used the transformation technique of the Great Dream Tianluo mask. He disguised my breath and physical condition perfectly. Mo Qianshan's divine stone was like a sharp blade. Put it roughly on everyone. A few screams rang out. A few cultivators secretly hid 4th-grade immortal treasures. Mo Qianshan directly pulled him out from a distance. Mo Qianshan snorted coldly. "Reckless fool. How dare you play tricks right under my nose?" After speaking, without hesitation, he slapped those few people to pieces. They claimed the treasures they have obtained for themselves. Those cruel and bloody methods. This made everyone present tremble uncontrollably in fear. When Mo Qianshan's divine stone swept over my body, I remained calm. I let his divine stone repeatedly test my meridians and dantian. Under the disguise of secret divine news from the heavenly palace, he only sensed an extremely faint green fluctuation within me. The beast bond was reduced to just a few hundred ordinary years. He was a complete useless relying on luck to break through. Mo Qianshan kept pursing his lips. He opened the divine stone. As for Ji Yu Shishue and Liu Ruyan, under my secret protection, and perfectly avoided his probing. Phew, I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Although Mo Qianshan was formidable, when faced with the mysterious methods of the 9 nether soldiers, still not enough. After the inspection, Mo Qianshan put away all his magical treasures and looked down coldly at us. At least you know what's good for you. From today onward, you will remain in this divine hammer seal labor ground. Every day you must complete the specified tasks of forging, material mining and iron making, digging and blacksmithing tasks. Otherwise, not only would there be no antidote, but they would also have to undergo a soul-searching process. Punishment. Now all of you, get back to work. After speaking, Mo Qianshan was carrying a large amount of treasures. Without looking back, he transformed into a streak of light and flew back to the depths of the sect. Everyone felt as if they had received a great amnesty. They all collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. I pulled Ji Yu Shishue and Liu Ruyan up. No pause. We quietly walked toward the abandoned cave where we were, returning to the cave residence. After activating all the isolation formations, only then did we truly feel safe. Ji Yu Shishue patted her chest. Her cheeks flushed as she spoke. It scared me to death. That villain's look just now was terrifying. Liu Ruyan looked at me with a grave expression. The Mohists are very powerful. Mo Qianshan was even a late-stage condensing nerve powerhouse. We stayed here. There was a constant threat to his life. What should we do next? I smiled slightly. He sat down on a piece of blue stone. Danger. No, danger. No. For others, this is hell, but for me, this was the most perfect treasure land for cultivation. The Mohists taught us to practice forging iron. That's exactly what I wanted. As long as I keep forging energy, my beast essence will grow infinitely. With enough beast essence, I can forge even stronger divine weapons. By then, a mere Mohist school. In my eyes, they are nothing more than a bunch of kids and dogs. I looked at the 2 female disciples standing before me. His expression grew serious. Shuer. Ruyan. Starting today, I will teach you the true 9 wandering heavenly palace technique. In this divine breeze, all we need to do is 2 words. Endure in silence, and I have accumulated enough strength as your master. This is the day the Mohists are destroyed. 2 girls looked at me. His gaze was deep and full of authority. A strong sense of security and admiration involuntarily rose in his heart. A strong sense of security and admiration. They responded in unison. Yes. The disciple will faithfully obey the master's command. In the days that followed, I completely became an ordinary, unremarkable menial blacksmith. Every day, he goes punctually to the mine at Hammer Peak to mine black iron ore. Then he returned to the blacksmith shop and struck the crisp arc with a clanging sound. In the eyes of others, I'm just a useless mortal who desperately wags my tail just to survive. But no one knew. Every time I swing my hammer, the beast source within his body was growing at an astonishing rate. 1 day, 10 days, 1 year, 10 years. Only 1 month passed. I not only completed the tasks assigned by the Mohists, he even secretly forged dozens of weapons disguised as scrap metal on his pillar sword platform. And my beast source, it quietly recovered to 130,000 years. Under my careful guidance, Ji Yu Shishue and Liu Ruyan's strength was also improving by leaps and bounds. Although Ji Yu Shishue was born with a severed vein and couldn't cultivate immortal power, but her understanding of artifact forging divine patterns had reached an extremely terrifying level. After I shared the 9 nether ice groups forging insights with him, he was actually able to use an ordinary iron sword. It depicts complex testimony that even the concentration mirror cannot understand. Liu Ruyan is even more extraordinary. Liu Ruyan is even more extraordinary. She was originally the Wugo sword body. After taking the spiritual medicine I refined with beast essence, the sword intent within his body surged wildly every day. In just 1 month, she had quietly broken through to the mid-stage of the concentration mirror. Moreover, her sword energy was pure and unreal, enough to easily challenge others beyond their level. However, The peaceful life did not last long. He worked as a menial servant at Shinjuapi. It's inevitable to encounter some blind flatterers. On this day, I was in the blacksmith shop guiding Gu Shishua in carving divine script. One was burly, a one-eyed cultivator with a stubborn face and a fleshy face. He barged in with a few ill-intentioned servants. This one-eyed cultivator was named Zhong Quang. He was a capable subordinate under Mo Qianshan, specifically responsible for supervising us menial disciples. Usually, he wields his power and brings favor. Extremely brutal. He licked his cracked lips. He laughed greedily. Lin Fan, you useless, but you're lucky with romance. There were actually 2 such beautiful girls hiding there. I've worked myself to the bone at the mine. Today, we happen to need 2 maids to serve tea and water. He took them away. I frowned slightly. He slowly lowered the hammer in his hand, standing in front of the 2 disciples. She looked at him calmly. Magistrate Zhong, sect rules, and miscellaneous laborers and disciples each perform their respective duties. They are my assistants. You can't take them away. Zhong Quang looked as if he'd just heard the biggest joke. Rules? At this divine hammer peak, I'm the rule. You're a piece of trash who barely managed to become an immortal, and dares to talk to me about rules, giving shameless things. Hit me. The servants behind Zhong Quang sneered. Clenching his fists, he charged at me. I sighed. He felt a bit helpless. I originally just wanted to quietly mine and develop. Why do these reckless fools always come knocking? Master, let me kill them. I gently waved my hand, signaling him to step back. Kill them? Why do you need to do anything? So you don't get your hands dirty. I watched as the servants rushed over. He silently recited in his heart, burning 10 years of longevity fate, merging into both fists. Boom! A surge of overwhelmingly violent power. Instantly, my fists filled my fists. Before anyone could see my movement, I stepped forward directly. A punch landed at the very front, on the chest of that servant. Bang! Accompanied by a dull boom. That person possessed concentrated spirit purification. A 7th-level menial disciple. He didn't even have time to scream. He looked like a kite with a broken string. It was sent flying backward. It crashed heavily against the distant mountain wall. He passed out on the spot. The remaining 2 servants forcibly stopped in their tracks. Watching this scene, his eyes nearly popped out. How is this possible? This Lin Fan is no ordinary person, a useless person who broke through by luck. How could he possess such terrifying physical strength? Zhong Quang also put away the smile on his face. His expression grew extremely grim. Good kid. Hidden and unassuming. No wonder they dare to disregard me. However, I'm at the late stage of the concentration mirror. Today, let's show you your late game strength. Today, I'll let you know. Mind your own business. Zhong Quang roared angrily. He was embraced by all his immortal power. It spread out in one stroke. A heavy blade of black ghostly energy, Ninkong, appeared on him. He gripped the knife with both hands, with the momentum of creating heaven and earth. Toward my head, he struck down fiercely. This strike was extremely powerful. The surrounding air, all emitted a piercing sonic boom. I sneered. His figure neither dodged nor evaded. He directly raised his right hand. Together they formed a sword, toward the heavy blade hanging down. A gentle tap, courting death. Zhong Quang saw that I actually dared to use it. His physical fingers reached out to catch him. His treasured blade. A cruel smile appeared on his face, but in the next second, his smile froze completely on his face. When a crisp metallic clanging sounded, my fingers pressed against the wild blade. He was completely unharmed. Instead, it was a terrifying force like a tidal wave. Following the blade, it turned back. Crack! The black heavy blade in Zhong Quang's hand. The moment they touched my fingers, it actually split open countless bead-like cracks. Finally, with a bang, it shattered into countless black iron shavings. Phew. Arrogant as if he'd been hit hard. Blood sprayed wildly from his mouth. He was sent flying more than 10 meters backward. He fell to the ground in a sorry state. He didn't care about the blood at the corner of his mouth. She looked at me with eyes full of terror. Who exactly are you? You absolutely cannot be an ordinary righteous disciple. Step by step, I walked up to him, looking down at him from above. His eyes were filled with coldness. Who I am doesn't matter. What matters is this. Today you can't take them away. Moreover, you have to pay for your stupidity. Zhong Quang felt the terrifying pressure radiating from me, like an abyss. Terrified out of their wits, he knew he had hit a real wall today. He hurriedly knelt on the ground, kowtowing desperately and begging for mercy. Senior, Spare me, senior, spare me. A petty man with eyes fails to recognize Mount Tai, offended the senior. Please, senior, just let me go like a fart. I looked at this previously arrogant lackey. There was no emotion in his heart. I didn't kill him outright, because within this sect, if one dies without cause, it is for the sake of a steward. It would definitely attract Mo Qinshan's personal investigation. I still need time to develop now. Do not alert the enemy by striking the grass. Get lost. If I ever see you come even half a step closer to here again, the outcome was just like this knife. Arrogant as if granted amnesty, he didn't dare say a word more. Crawling and tumbling, he escaped the blacksmith with a few injured servants. Liu Ruyan walked over to me. He said with some concern, Master. Although this face-obsessed man was scared away, but after he returned, he would definitely report to Mo Qinshan. Should we prepare in advance? No harm. He didn't dare to go. For someone like him, a petty man who bullies the weak and fears the strong, the most selfish and fearful of death. If he goes to complain, not only will it expose his own incompetence, if I get caught in my hand and silence him, he lost more than he gained. In the following days, not only did Zhong Kuang never come back to cause trouble again, even the task weights distributed by Hammer Wind to us, all of them inexplicably reduced by half. As for our cultivation resources and mortal treasures, but it doubled. This was clearly Zhong Kuang secretly trying to please me. I enjoy a peaceful life. Every day, he brought 2 female apprentices, cultivating and forging iron franzily in the cave dwelling. In the blink of an eye, half a year passed. During these 6 months, the beast source within me forged iron through my relentless effort. It had silently broken through to an astonishing 150,000 years. The 9 Nether Soldier clan was finally nurtured by countless pure beast sources, restored 30% of his strength. Kid. I sensed it. Deep beneath this divine breeze, buried is something extraordinary. The fluctuations that thing emitted. It definitely surpasses the level of Xian Wuping. It might even be a damaged ancient artifact. An ancient divine artifact. A sudden surge of emotion swept through my mind. The younger brother of Divine Hammer Peak actually hides such a treasure. No wonder the Mohists chose to establish their main base here. It seems they have come for this ancient artifact as well. The soldier clan nodded. Not bad. However, the area around that artifact was heavily sealed. And it was tainted by endless resentment and deathly sorrow. For hundreds of years of the Mohist school, it has always been harvesting the lifespans of you mortal beings who are not living. It means continuously using pure beast sources, to wash and pour over the sealed death period around that artifact. If I'm not mistaken. At the fastest, 3 months, if delayed, it will be half a year. The seal around the artifact will completely dissipate. When the time comes, Mo Qinshan will definitely use the lives of all your menial disciples, to perform the final sacrifice, forcibly reclaim that divine artifact. Hearing this, a cold murderous intent flashed in my eyes. What a Mohist school, what a masterful scheme, to obtain a divine artifact. They actually had to sacrifice the lives of hundreds of cultivators for blood plasma. However, since I found out, this divine artifact, don't expect anything from your Mohists. I looked at my own abundant longevity fate of 150,000 years. A cold smile curled at the corner of his mouth. Since you want to use your lifespan to wear down the seal, then I'll use my 150,000 years of lifespan. I've prepared a huge surprise for you. In the time that followed, on the surface, I still work steadily every day as usual. Secretly, they began to have Bu Shishue and Liu Ruyan prepare to evacuate. And I do it every night when everything is quiet. Secretly using Earth escape techniques, he ventured deep beneath Divine Hammer Peak. Under the guidance of the 9 Nether Ice Group, I passed through layers of dangerous magma and dead gas layers. Finally, they arrived at the very core of Divine Hammer Peak. The sky was filled with dark red and fierce light, rolling endlessly in the night sky. I slowly stood up. He brushed the dust off his body. That was pure immortal energy, forcibly twisted to dust. What was originally pure immortal energy was forcibly twisted. It turned into a flood of hostility. Shui Ruyan. The show was about to begin. Let's go. I brought 2 female disciples. With a calm expression, he walked out of the shabby cave. At this moment, halfway up the mountain, the wild wind howled, kicking up a cloud of rubble. Countless menial disciples were visibly panicked. Dejected, he ran toward the plaza at the mountaintop. Their pace was chaotic. Everyone's face was filled with despair, because they can truly feel it. The elixir inside his body was burning wildly. That kind of stillness that comes from the depths of the soul. It was like invisible chains, dragging them forward. Jiu Shishua followed closely behind me. Master, those people looked so painful. That elixir was truly terrifying. I gently patted her shoulder, gently comforting him. Shuya, do not be afraid. There is a master who is present. That ban won't hurt you in the slightest, master. If it starts to happen later, I wish to serve as the vanguard. I smiled slightly. He shook his head. No rush. Watch the show first. Wait until Mo Qingshan is the most proud. When Mo Qingshan was at his highest, we will give him another big gift. When we arrived at the Peak Galleria, the scene before them was both spectacular and eerie. Hundreds of menial disciples, forming a huge circle. He knelt down on the ground, the center of the square. The massive altar was fully lit. Dark red runes swirled across the ground, converging toward the very center of the Taihuang Green Garden roof. Mo Qianshan was floating in midair, standing above the summit. He exuded the terrifying pressure of the late concentration mirror stage. Her originally thin face was illuminated by the firelight. It appeared extremely competitive and intense. Ha ha ha. Mo Qianshan laughed heartily toward the sky. Everyone, today is the day you contribute to the Mohist school. As long as you dedicate your lifespan to the Divine Cauldron. Once the seal on the Divine Cauldron is broken, I won't miss out on your good fortune. Location: in the crowd, an elderly cultivator struggled to lift his head, his voice trembling. Elder Mo, you weren't like that before. You didn't say that before. You clearly promised that as long as we handed over the treasure on time, you would give us the antidote. You are nothing but a bunch of menial servants from the mortal world. He also cooperated with Benjian in negotiating terms. Without your connections, how can I master this Taihuang Qingyuan roof? Today, none of you should escape. After speaking, the cultivators on the royal field screamed in agony. Clutching his head, he writhed painfully on the ground. The life energy within them, it began to transform into green magnetic threads. Following the runes on the ground, they surged madly toward the top of Taihuang Qingyuan. I watched coldly at the scene. He activated the 9 Nether Heavenly Palace scroll within his body. In my dantian, that Taihuang Qingyuan base that I had branded with the divine stone, it emits a faint rumbling. Mo Qianshan, do you really think you control everything? I sneered inwardly. I soaked my clothes and pants, sucked blood, and Liu Ruyan also fell along with it, pretending to be struggling in pain. Mo Qianshan's gaze swept through the crowd. In the end, they all swept the shots. In the end, it fell on me. His eyebrows furrowed slightly. I always feel like my life force is fading very slowly, like a useless person. Lin Fan. You useless fool. Why can it still barely hold on? Mo Qianshan's body, it landed right in front of me in an instant. I showed a look of utter terror. His whole body trembled violently. Elder Mo, spare me. The petty man was simply born strong. A bit more solid foundation. I begged the elders to show mercy. The foundation is thick. That's perfect. Contribute more to me. After speaking, he stepped on my shoulder, attempting to forcibly extract my skinny essence. However, the moment his palm touched my shoulder, I silently recited in my heart, burning the barren plain for 500 years. Backlash. Boom. A life force so vast it was unimaginable. Following my meridians, like a torrent rising against the current, it charged straight into Mo Qianshan's body. Mo Qianshan's face changed dramatically. He felt an overwhelmingly violent power rampaging through his meridians. This force is overwhelming. It was simply beyond what he could bear. How is that possible? You're just a mortal. How could there be such terrifying life energy within his body? Mo Qianshan cried out in surprise. His body kept staggering backward. A trace of the ultimate female origin aura even spilled from the corner of her mouth. I slowly stood up. The terror on his face vanished instantly. In its place was a cold, frosty smile. Elder Mo. My lifespan. You still feel good sucking it? The surrounding servant disciples all took a liking to it. This usually timid blacksmith Lin Fan. How dare you speak to Elder Mo in such a tone? Moreover, it seemed Elder Mo had just been pushed back by him, courting death. Mo Qianshan was furious and embarrassed. His entire body was surging with immortal power. He slapped my crown with a palm, like smoke. I'm leaving it to you. Yes, master. A cold, Clear voice rang out. Immediately after, a jade-green sword light shot up into the sky, like a meteor streaking across the night sky. Liu Ruyan's figure was as swift as lightning, instantly blocking my way, the Azure Emperor creation sword in his hand. The world stands before me. The light earth creation sword in his hand. It radiates endless vitality and the shadow of destruction. When a crisp metallic clanging echoed through the square, Mo Qianshan's palm was powerful enough to split mountains and hunt stones. He was actually casually blocked by Liu Ruyan's sword. And that's not all. That overwhelming sword aura. It tore countless gaps in Mo Qianshan's daoist robe. His figure was sent flying once again. He fell to the ground in a sorry state. The spirit and spirit have reached the mid-level stage. Not a single sword body. You actually hid your cultivation. Mo Qianshan looked at Liu Ruyan with a satisfied message. He never expected it. This girl he saw as a catalyst. He turned out to be a hidden genius in swordsmanship. What shocked him even more was, Liu Ruyan had just called me master. Who exactly are you? Mo Qianshan stared at me intently. An unprecedented sense of fear welled up in his heart. I walked step by step toward the altar, hands behind my back. Who I am doesn't matter. What matters is this, the Taihuang Qingyuan bottom you have been desperately trying to get. Now it's mine. Speechless and disorderly, I've already used hundreds of beast connections. Wear down his seal. He has long been in my grasp. Mo Qianshan shouted wildly, attempting to activate the control runes on the altar. However, no matter how he pushed it, even the top of the Taihuang Green Garden showed no reaction at all. Instead, it began to tremble violently. The dark red runes on his body, at that moment, miraculously, it has transformed into a noble gold mine, a sacred and ancient aura, spreading from the top. 9 Nether Heavenly Palace, obey my command. Receive. I softly uttered a few words. Search that mountain-sized Taihuang Qingyuan roof. In an instant, it transformed into a beam of golden light. It sank straight into my brow. What? Mo Qianshan was stunned, like a wooden chicken. He felt as if he had lost his soul. He had painstakingly planned a grand plan for hundreds of years. At that very moment, making wedding clothes for others. Phew. Mo Qianshan was greatly invigorated. The immortal power within his body instantly dissipated. He was terrified and trapped. The last trace of connection between himself and the divine summit. It was completely cut off. I'll fight you to the end. Mo completely cut it off. I'll fight you to the end. Mo Qianshan's eyes widened into the distance. He was completely lost in madness. He suddenly crushed the skull in his hand, ready to die together. However, I am no longer prepared to give him any chance. 2 months in total. A mysterious fluctuation centered on me. It instantly spread throughout the entire peak plaza. In that instant, the wind stopped. Yunji did. Mo Qianshan's forward figure froze in midair, the ferocious expression on his face, even the frenzied precedent flashing in his eyes. All are completely still, the surrounding laborers struggling in pain, and all maintain various strange postures at that moment, unable to move or move. In this forbidden space-time, only me, move with ease. I slowly walked up to Mo Qianshan, looking at his face, filled with terror and despair. Elder Mo, thank you for your extradition. In the next life, be a good person. I raised my right hand. Together they formed a sword. He gently tapped Mo Qianshan's dantian. The 9 Nether Heavenly Palace sensation within me suddenly surged. It transformed into a miniature vortex, with the blessing of the Time Realm. The immortal power and cultivation within Mo Qianshan's body. A terrifying rate of degeneration began. His black hair instantly turned grey. The skin begins to shrive. Relaxed. That was the backlash power of the beast ape. All the beasts he had seized over the past 100 years. At that moment, everything was lost, dissipating between heaven and earth. Finish all of this. I withdrew my right hand. His figure flashed. He retreated back to his original spot. Phew. I let out a gentle breath. The time domain was lifted. Bang. Mo Qianshan, having lost both his cultivation and the beast ape, like a withered tree dried by the wind, he crashed heavily to the ground. He did not die, but it had already turned into pneumonia where even moving was difficult. In his eyes, the previous arrogance were gone. All that remains is endless emptiness and despair. The surrounding restrictions completely collapsed at that moment. Those menial disciples all regained their freedom. They looked at Mo Qianshan, who lay on the ground like a dead dog. He looked at me, who wore a calm expression. For a moment, the entire square was so loud you could hear a pin drop on the ground. What a heaven-shattering technique that was. A mortal blacksmith. It happened in the blink of an eye. He crippled a late-stage cultivator with the concentration mirror. I ignored them. Turn around, watching those menial disciples who had been reborn. And the stillness is resolved. You are free. Each of you should run for your life. Everyone was stunned for a moment. A thunderous cheer erupted. Thank you, Senior, for saving my life. The great kindness of the Senior. We cannot say it is unforgettable. Countless people bowed deeply to me. Then he hurriedly ran down the mountain. They know, Mo Qianshan has fallen. The Mo family will soon fall into chaos. At this moment, do not flee. When else will I wait? Just as the crowd was dispersing, a woman wearing a simple long dress, but she slowly walked up to me. She did not run away. Instead, it was a graceful hem. There was a hint of pleading in his expression. The young woman Yi Qingge. I earnestly ask the elders to take me in, as long as you can follow your senior. This humble woman wishes to ride on a cow or a horse, serve tea and pour water. I was slightly taken aback, illuminating the woman before him. Yi Qing's singing was exceptionally beautiful, gentle and graceful as water, yet between his brows there was a faint, stubborn sinister aura. What surprised me even more was, under my divine sense, the corpse was swept clean. A faint and mysterious rhythm was stirring within her. At that time, the rare Ling-Long star of the celestial eagle, the Nine Nether Ice ancestor, screamed strangely in my mind once again. Damn. Kid, what kind of luck is this? Another unparalleled system. If this girl cultivates the Yin Law Sword Dao, or use Yin Law to assist in controlling fire and training hardship, he was definitely a genius of unparalleled achievement. Hurry and accept her. I secretly found it amusing. This 9 Nether troops are even more anxious than I am, but I do need more talented helpers. After all, the road ahead, it probably won't last long. Why do you want to follow me? I looked at Yi Qingge and asked calmly. Yi Qingge looked up. Her eyes were slightly red. His voice was choked with emotion. The young woman's family. Once a secluded musical world in the mortal world. All because the family had an ancestral treasure. It summoned the memories of the strong. In a single night, and his entire family was destroyed. My father wanted to protect me. He gave me the last bit of his strength. He gave me the last bit of his strength. I originally wanted to look for clues about my enemy. Unfortunately, he was caught by the Mohists and forced to serve as a menial servant. The Senior's strength is unparalleled. I do not ask you to avenge me, Senior. All I seek is a place to stay. Acquire a skill. Speaking of the emotional part, a sparkling tear slid down her cheek. It adds a touch of pitiful delicacy. Ji Shishua beside her softened her heart. He tugged at my sleeve. Master, big sister is so pitiful. Let's just keep her. I sighed. His expression softened. Forget it. Since that's the case, you shall become my disciple, be my third disciple. However, follow me, but be prepared to endure hardship. Disciple Yi Qingge, greetings to Master. I waved my hand, accompanied by 3 younger sisters, silently disappearing into the night. After we left Hammer Peak, there was not a moment of resting along the way. According to the peak behind, there was not a moment of resting along the way. According to information provided by Yi Qingge, we headed toward the immortal realm. The city of scattered cultivators called Tiangong City rushed over. Tiangong City. It is a place built by countless rogue cultivators and artifact refiners. A vast city built together. There, all kinds of people and dragons are mixed together. Major powers intertwined. But precisely because of this, that place was actually the safest post. Half a month later, we finally arrived at Tiangong City, looking at the towering Luyun before him. The seal is a magnificent city wall made of bronze and massive stones. Ji Shishue and Yi Qingge couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. What a huge city! How much crystal iron would it take to forge this? Ji Shishue's big eyes were full of little stars. I smiled slightly. He led them into the city. In a remote poor neighborhood in the city, I spent several hundred low-grade immortal stones. He rented a somewhat run-down blacksmith shop. The shop isn't big. Up ahead is the storefront. Behind was a small courtyard. It's enough for the 4 of us as master and disciple to live in. After settling in, I hung up the sign of my neighbor's blacksmith shop again. Every morning, accompanied by the crisp jingle of the ring, I began my peaceful yet fulfilling blacksmithing life. Every time I forge, my life is fulfilling. Every time I strike an iron sword, this can add 3 more days to your lifespan. Although my lifespan now reaches over 100,000 years, but I still didn't let up. Longevity requires one step at a time. Only by moving steadily can you go far. In this peaceful daily life, I also began fulfilling my duties as a master. Teach my 3 female disciples. Ji Shishue has an extremely high sensitivity to divine scripts. I am in the iron prison every day. He taught him how to apply the defensive array patterns within the 9 Nether Heavenly Palace technique. It perfectly fits into the most ordinary pig iron. Swear. The way of refining qi. It's not about how precious the materials are. It lies in your understanding of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and your mindset when carving the formation patterns. I held his somewhat clumsy little hand on the bright red iron plate, guiding him stroke by stroke. Ji Shishue's upturned face flushed slightly, but he listened with unusual attentiveness. Master, I understood. While the willows are like mist, every day, he sweats it out in the yard. His Wuguo sword body was under the guidance of the 9 Nether soldiers. He began to cultivate a supreme sword path called the 9 Nether Forbidden Hunting Sword. His sword had no flashy moves, only ultimate speed and pure power. Every swing of the sword is in the courtyard. Every swing of the sword is carried in the air of the courtyard, leaving behind a lingering shadow of emerald sword energy. As for Yi Chinga, is the most unique sight in our blacksmith shop. Whenever I sweat profusely by the fire, forging iron, he would sit on the sidelines and take his ideas, softly blowing his white jade flute. The crisp and melodious sound of the flute filled the narrow shop. The strange thing is, the flute seemed to contain a soothing power that soothed the soul. It helps ease my previously irritated mood caused by the heat. In an instant, it became as calm as a still well. That's how it is now, under his control of the Skyhawk. The crimson flames inside the furnace. It could actually follow the rhythm of the flute, calling loud, calling small. Achieve the perfect crispy heat temperature, master. Today's piece is the pure heart mantra, but it still suits your taste. A single tune contains 2 pieces. Yi Chinga put away her flute. She looked at me playfully. I wiped the sweat from my forehead. He burst out laughing. All right, excellent. The sound of a flute with a clear song was approaching. The speed at which I forged iron today, already 30% faster. The courtyard was filled with laughter and joy. This warm yet ordinary daily life, it made me feel something unprecedented. An unprecedented kind of relaxation. Cultivation doesn't necessarily have to involve fighting and killing. Worldly attachment. It is also the supreme great path. However, in this immortal realm where the strong prey on the weak, if you don't cause trouble, trouble will come knocking proactively. Our Lingji blacksmith shop, because the quality of the tools made is excellent, and the prices are fair. Soon, he made a name for himself in this poor neighborhood. Farmers and scattered cultivators within a few miles. They all like to come here to buy farming tools and self-defense ironware. Naturally, this sparked jealousy among his peers. At the end of this street, there is a large shop called Wankage. The owner there, Jin Fugue, it was a wealthy and elegant woman, an extremely greedy merchant. On this day, I was in the blacksmith's shop, repairing an old farmer's hoe. Suddenly, a noisy commotion came from outside the door. Immediately after, several burly men with arrogant expressions. He barged in with a fierce momentum. Who is the owner of this shop? Get out here. Leading them was a burly one-eyed man with a face full of flesh. He kicked a stack of iron men nearby. The tone was extremely unfriendly. I frowned slightly. He put down the hoe in his hand. She looked at him calmly. I am the one. I wonder what honorable matters you all hold. The one-eyed man sneered. He sized us up and down. Do you understand the rules of Tiangong City? Doing business on this street, we must have permission from our Wanchi pavilion. The blacksmith shop near you has been open since then. Not only did he not visit our boss Jin, they also maliciously drove down the price of ironware. He took quite a bit of business from our Wanchi brother. Today, I'm here to bring you the rules. Maliciously lowering prices. I smiled calmly. My ironware, all are sold at regular market prices. How could there be talk of lowering prices? Furthermore, I opened my blacksmith shop. Why did you want to visit your boss Jin? Kid. Still quite stubborn. On this poor neighborhood, what our brother Wan Chi said, it is the law of the king. Since you don't know how to show mercy, then don't blame us for being rude. Brothers, smash it for me. You're too polite. Brothers, smash it for me. Tear down this broken shop for me. After speaking, several henchmen behind him sneered. He rolled up his sleeves, ready to get started. Ji Shishue was doing the math nearby. Seeing this, her face turned pale with anger. You scoundrels. He angrily blocked those people. Yo. She's still a little beauty. This calf is truly beautiful. Why not just follow me, sir? and so I won't suffer in this shabby blacksmith shop. Courting death, a cold voice rang out. Suddenly, a sound rang out inside the blacksmith's shop. Liu Ruyan's figure. At some point, he had appeared behind the one-eyed man. In his cool, aloof chestnut hair, the intent to kill was as tangible as substance. The one-eyed man only felt a shadow behind him. Instinctively, he turned away. However, before he could see Liu Ruyan's movements clearly, Liu Ruyan had already drawn the longsword at her waist. Right! A crisp sword cry. The sound echoed throughout the shop. Liu Ruyan didn't even draw her sword. Only the sword scabbard was included, turning into a remnant streak, just including Cambridge. It turned into a blur. A heavy slap landed on the one-eyed man's cheek. Smack! A crisp sound. The one-eyed man didn't even have time to scream. He spun around 3 times in place. Then it was like a tattered sack. He flew out the main gate with a fierce thud. He crashed heavily down the middle of the street. Half of his face instantly swelled up like a steamed bun. The teeth in her mouth are even more unclear. How many have been blown away? Big brother. Those lackeys who originally wanted to smash the shop. Seeing this scene, he was so scared his calves cramped. This usually gentle girl in white. Why are you attacking so ruthlessly? And the speed of her sword strike, so fast that they couldn't even see clearly. Liu Ruyan pointed her long sword at the ground. He coldly uttered a single word. Those lackeys didn't dare to stay any longer. He scrambled and crawled onto the street. He lifted the already somewhat dazed, venomous man, and fled in panic. Master, did I cause you trouble? I shook my head. He smiled and patted her on the head. Silly girl. You did a great job. For these vicious dogs who bully the weak and fear the strong, the beating hurt. The beating hurt. That's when they learn to be afraid. But I know that too. Jin Fugue definitely wouldn't let it go easily. Sure enough, only half an hour passed. Outside the blacksmith's shop, a large crowd gathered again. The neighbors around gathered at a distance, pointing and whispering, her eyes full of worry. The young manager of the neighboring blacksmith shop. This time, he was probably in trouble. Yeah, Boss Jin is extremely narrow-minded. This time, even his top enforcer, One-Eyed Dragon, was beaten. He would definitely bring in even stronger experts. Amid the crowd's discussions, one was short and stout, a fat man dressed extremely flamboyantly, surrounded by a group of bodyguards dressed in black. He strolled over slowly. He was none other than Jin Fugue, the owner of Wanchi Pavilion, and beside Jin Fugue, followed by someone dressed in a grey robe. The elder looked extremely arrogant. The old man placed both hands behind his back. On his chest was a 4th grade Qi refining badge issued by Tiangong City. Jin Fugue walked up to the blacksmith's shop, looking at the one-eyed dragon bruised and swollen from the beating. A trace of gloom flashed in his eyes. He looked up at me. He sneered. Kid, you've got some nerve. Even my Wanchi Pavilion dares to fight. If you don't give me a satisfactory explanation today, I'll let you stay near the blacksmith's shop. He completely disappeared from that Tiangong City. I came up with an idea. Sitting leisurely at the front door, she looked at him calmly. Boss Jin wanted some explanation. Jin Fugue snorted coldly. This is the chief artifact refiner of our Myriad Artifacts Pavilion. He is also a renowned 4th grade master artifact refiner in Tiangong City. Ancient Iron Master. Kid, you're not singing about knowing how to make a little of a forge. Is he acting arrogantly here? If you lose, not only do they want to transfer this shop to me wankage free of charge, and I want to give these 2 girls to me as maids. If you win, when I meet you with the people of Wanchi Pavilion, take a detour. Oh my god, it was actually the Ancient Iron Master. That was a 4th grade Qi refiner, an existence capable of personally creating top-grade spiritual energy. Liu Ruyan and Yi Qingge, 2 women. Hearing Jin Fugue's despicable mediation, a raging rage instantly flared up in her beautiful eyes. Shameless scoundrels. Yi Qingge was trembling all over with anger. I gently patted Yi Qingge's hand, signaling him to calm down a bit. I slowly stood up, looking at Master Ji Yu Tai beside him, whose expression was sharp and fierce. Ancient Iron Master. You mean the same thing? The Ancient Iron Master respected his status. He didn't even bother to look me in the eye. He snorted coldly. His tone was extremely arrogant. Young people, I originally did not wish to lower my status, sparring with you, a common blacksmith. But you absolutely shouldn't have offended Boss Jin. If you know what's good for you, now I just admit defeat, so that you might bring humiliation upon yourself later. I burst out laughing. What a 4th-ranked master of practice. All right. I'm taking this contest. But since it was a contest, Then there had to be a topic. No one knew what Master Gu Tai wanted to compete with. Since you're a blacksmith, then let's not play those fake games. We use the most common black iron as the raw material. Each forges an ice blade, whose ice blades are of higher quality. Whoever wins. How about that? Alright, it's a matter of course. HMPH, very soon, under Jin Fugue's arrangement. On the open space in front of the blacksmith's shop, 2 simple furnaces were built. 2 pieces weigh up to 100 Jin. It's exactly the same ordinary black iron. They were placed beside 2 stoves. More and more spectators gathered around him. It almost surrounded the entire street so tightly that not even a drop of water could pass. Everyone wanted to see it. This fiercely disparity in strength in the capital. What kind of ending will it be? The match officially began. Master Gu Tai snorted coldly. Take the initiative. His figure froze. The surging immortal power from her but instantly poured into the furnace fire. Originally ordinary flames. Under the immortal power of his power, in an instant, it turned into a dazzling display. Under the immortal power of his power, in an instant, it turned into a dazzling blue. At that time, his true life fire, Lan Yu fired. The surrounding chi cultivators were robust. They all exclaimed in amazement. Master Gu Tai's expression grew grave. With extremely skillful technique, he threw the black iron into the furnace, begin to melt it continuously. Every move he made, all appear extremely elegant and standard, filled with the demeanor of a master. On my side, but it was so plain it made people want to laugh. I didn't put in any effort. Just as usual, holding an ordinary iron shovel, he leisurely tossed a few pieces of charcoal into the stove, then pulled a bellows, let the stove fire burn slowly. What is that kid doing? He was there. Cooking with fire? Jin Fugue also looked very smug. It was as if he could already see me kneeling and begging for mercy. The scene of the shop and the 2 women handing over their hands to each other. I ignored the noise around me. He looked calmly at the furnace. Clear song. Play a tune for me. Yes, master. Yi Chinga smiled broadly, like 100 flowers in full bloom. He took out a white jade flute, placed on the lips. A crisp and melodious flute, placed on the lips. The crisp and melodious flute sound, slowly echoing through the noisy streets. The sound of the flute was melodious, like lofty mountains and flowing water. It is also like a spring breeze brushing the face. Everyone present, including those lackeys who were shouting. At this moment, Xinjing inexplicably quieted down. Amid the melodious sound of the flute, the 9 nether heavenly palace technique within me slowly circulated. I looked at the somewhat rusty piece of black iron in my hand, silently reciting in his heart, burn 10 years of life, and melted into this iron. Boom. A golden origin invisible to ordinary people. Following my palm, it silently sank into the black iron. The originally rough black iron. Internal impurities are present in that instant, or purified at an extremely terrifying speed. I picked up my black iron hammer that had followed me for years. Take a deep breath. When the first hammer strikes, the sound of that strike, crisp yet ethereal, it was actually faintly accompanied by Yi Chinga's flute. The rhythm matches perfectly. A ring of invisible ripples visible to the naked eye, centered on the iron needle, spreading outward in all directions. Master Gu Tai was startled by the loud noise. His hands involuntarily paused for a moment. He looked at me in shock. I keep feeling that my hammer just now, it seems to contain something. It seemed to contain some extremely profound heaven and earth will. Impossible. This kid is just a mortal. How could there be such an aura? Master Gu Tai bit his lip. He forced himself to calm his mind. He began to fully smelt his black iron. Ta-da-da-da-da-da. I kept hammering again and again. Under every blow I made, the black iron was shrinking rapidly. The texture becomes purer and purer. The surface color also changed from its original pitch black color. It gradually transformed into a deep dark gold. Gu Shishua watched from the side. Her big eyes were full of admiration. The look of the master forging iron. He was really so handsome. Half an hour passed. The black iron from the ancient iron master's side. He had already forged it into the prototype of a longsword. He shouted in a low voice. Quickly finish the sound with both hands. An extremely powerful spiritual energy pressure radiated from him, sweeping across the blade. It became top-grade spiritual energy. Blue Moon Sword. No wonder he's a master of ancient iron. Surprisingly, it was all in a short time. In just half an hour. He then forged a sword of supreme spiritual energy. This spiritual blacksmith broke through the small city position. Not sure. Master Gu Tai wiped the actor's forehead. She looked at me with a hint of pride. Young people. My blue moon sword is complete. Where are your soldiers? Don't keep me waiting too long. I smiled slightly. The hammer in his hand smashed down the last box, when a deafening roar was accompanied by the crisp sound of swords. In an instant, it completely overwhelmed the pressure of Master Gu Tai's blue moon sword. I put the iron tongs into the water. Wet now. A wave of white mist rose up. When I pulled the weapon out of the water, everyone in the room was completely stunned, because what I was holding wasn't some divine weapon. It was a piece of iron black hidden gold, ordinary on the outside. Liu Chan. Young people, are you just playing with me? Take a spatula to compete with my finest parts. Are you crazy? Ancient Iron Master, the quality of a weapon is not judged by its appearance. It lies in usage. If you don't believe me, how dare you let your blue moon sword clash head-on with my shovel? Why would I dare not? Today, I'll let you know. What is the true difference between cloud and mud? Go. Master Gu Tai raised his finger. The blue moon sword, suspended in midair, transformed into a streak of blue light. With overwhelming momentum, he slashed fiercely at the stove spatula in my hand. I stood where I was. His expression was as calm as a well. I slowly raised my right hand, the stove spatula in his hand. No immortal power was used, but facing the blue long sword, with a gentle wave. Right, a crisp metallic clang, echoing on the silent streets. The next moment, the sound that made everyone's eyes nearly pop out. He spoke out. The ancient Iron Master's handle. The sound of a cracking sound. He spoke out. The ancient Iron Master's handle. Carrying high expectations. The supreme blue moon sword. A top-tier part radiating a brilliant blue light. The moment it touched my dark gold furnace shovel, surprisingly, there was not the slightest ripple. It was as if it were made of paper. Inch by inch, it shattered into pieces. It turned into countless blue fragments, spilled all over the ground, and my dark gold skull shovel, still intact. Not even a scratch remained. Phew. The 5 Iron Masters are using their destined treasure to hunt. Wounded in spirit, the immortal power within his body surged violently. His face instantly turned as pale as paper. He staggered and retreated for more than 10 years. In the end, some collapsed onto the ground. That's impossible. This is absolutely impossible. My blue moon sword is top-grade spiritual energy. How could it be smashed by an ordinary skull shovel? The 5 Iron Master crashed into the madness. The surrounding audience at that moment. The group also fell into a deathly silence. A skull spade smashed top-tier parts in one blow. This completely overturned all their understanding of the art of artifact forging. The smile on Jin Fugue's face froze instantly. It was as if he had been immobilized. It was as if he had been immobilized. He stood frozen in place. I held the dark gold skull shovel. He slowly walked up to Jin Fugue. Boss Jin. It seems this contest I won. I don't know what you said before, can still be counted. Jin Fugue shuddered all over. Looking at me, his eyes were filled with terror. What kind of sorcery did you use? I'm the owner of the Wanqi Pavilion. How dare you touch me? Located in Tiangong City, you absolutely won't survive. I looked at him coldly, with a casual wave of his hand. Phew. A violent aura arose, as if there is a living effect. Get lost. If I ever see anyone from your Wanqi Pavilion again, just half a step closer to my blacksmith shop, the shattered swords on the ground. That's your fate. Jin Fugue didn't dare say another word. With the help of several bodyguards, he slinked back to the street corner. Master Gu Tai also got up, lost and distraught. He looked at me. Thank you, shopkeeper, for showing mercy. The shopkeeper showed mercy. I, an old man, admit defeat. After speaking, he also slunk away. The neighboring blacksmith shop, completely in the poor neighborhood, even more than half of Tiangong City, his reputation soared. After this campaign, our business became even more prosperous. Every day, people came in an endless stream of people seeking to buy ironware. My lifespan steadily grows amid the crisp sound of iron being hammered. It broke through again to the 150,000-year mark. However, the peaceful life did not last long. That night, the moon was bright and the stars were few. The night was cool as water. I was resting in the inner room with my eyes closed. Suddenly, the 9 nether soldiers appeared in my mind. A very grave warning was issued. Kid, a master has arrived. At least at the peak of the concentration mirror. In fact, They may have already reached the threshold of the round Oriel mirror. I was startled. He suddenly opened his eyes. I rolled out of bed. He quietly walked into the courtyard. At this moment, Liu Ruyan and Yi Qingge were already on alert. He came up behind me. Master, there was an assassin, Liu Ruyan said softly. She said passionately in her beautiful eyes. A sword intent flickered in her beautiful eyes. I signaled them not to act rashly. I looked up at the roof. Your Excellency came to visit late at night. I do not know what honorable position he has. Ha ha ha. Shopkeeper Lin Fan was indeed very alert. A chilling laugh rang out, echoing in the night sky. One was dressed in a black robe, a man wearing a nightingale mask. It slowly floated down from the rooftop. His aura was extremely sinister, like a poisonous crab lurking in the darkness. It sends chills down one's spine. And that's not all. On the walls surrounding the blacksmith's shop, a dozen men in black quietly appeared. Everyone holds a magical weapon. They surrounded the entire courtyard so tightly that not even a drop of water could pass through. Who are you? I looked at the leading nightingale man. He spoke calmly. Who I am doesn't matter. What matters is this. Someone offered a large sum of immortal stones. I want to buy your lives and those two girls. Jin Fugue sent you here, a person on the verge of death. Why bother knowing so much? Get it on. Not a single one was spared. The nightingale man waved his hand. He issued a kill order. A dozen or so men in black spoke coldly. In an instant, it turned into more than a dozen black after images. Good, we can't rush in. Master, this is garbage. Leave it to us. Liu Ruyan offered a congratulatory voice. He exchanged a glance with Yi Qingge. The two women worked together in perfect harmony. Yi Qingge placed the white jade flute to his lips. He played a high-pitched, wild melody. The battle formation music was played. English law became an invisible wave of air. In an instant, those men in black launched an attack. He was firmly held back, and with the blessing of this sky eagle, the Azure Emperor creation sword in Liu Ruyan's hand, it erupted with an unprecedented dazzling light. Her figure was like lightning, moving among the men in black. Every time he swung his sword, one of the black-clad man's magical treasures was mercilessly damaged by the shock. His cultivation was forcibly shattered by the raging sword energy. He crashed heavily to the ground. For a moment, shadows fluttered throughout the courtyard. With the perfect cooperation of the two women, those dozen or so men in black, who had eaten the powerful ones, he couldn't even touch the collars of their clothes. The nightingale man watched the scene. The expression beneath the mask became extremely grim. He never expected it. These two seemingly delicate women, how could it be so troublesome? Damn it. They are all a bunch of useless people. I better take action myself. The Nighthawk man shouted angrily. The tattoo's delicate green erupted like a volcano. One of his right hands, in that instant, it actually swelled up in a strange way. It transformed into a jet-black creature, eagle talons overgrown with rice concubines. His figure was like a wild goose displayed. It carried an extremely fierce tearing wind. He headed straight for Yi Qingge, who was playing the flute. He could tell, Yi Qingge was the core support of this war. Ruyan stepped back. This person is not someone you can handle. My expression turned cold. I took a step forward. In an instant, it blocked Yi Qingge's path. Looking at that fierce palm strike, I will not retreat and counterattack. He threw the same punch. The 9 netherworlds are severed from the body. Open, I silently recited in my heart. Burn 50 years of life, integrated into this single punch. Boom. A force was overwhelmingly violent. At the moment my fist met the opponent's eagle palm, it exploded with a thunderous roar. The raging air currents instantly filled the surrounding void. Ripples visible to the naked eye were stirred. Crack. The sound of bones breaking. In the deathly silent night, it stood out. The sound of bones breaking. It sounded extremely harsh in the deathly silent night. The nightingale man let out an extremely miserable wail. His proud magical treasure, the eagle talon, under my punch, it was actually smashed into pieces, completely nullified. His body was sent flying backward like a kite with a broken string. He slammed hard against the wall. He smashed a stone wall down with a crash. The nightingale man collapsed into the ruins, clutching her broken arm. She looked at me with eyes full of terror. That punch, there was no trace of the delicate green fluctuation, but the pure physical power contained within. But it made him feel a certain way, facing the powerlessness of an ancient giant beast. In that instant, a black token on his body, because of impact, it accidentally fell out of his arms. It fell under the moonlight. That token was completely spent, made from unknown black bone. The front is carved with a flower, an extremely strange golden epiphyllum. Yi Qingge saw the token, originally because of battle, and a slightly rosy, upturned face. In that instant, It became as pale as paper. His body trembled violently, trembling. The golden-faced man who once negatively criticized my family. He was wearing an identical token. They shattered my family's lives to take them, torturing all my people to the bitter end. Yi Qingge's emotions completely spiraled out of control. Some of them couldn't hold themselves together and knelt down on the ground. Covering her face, she broke down in tears. Years of grievances and hatred. At this moment, it erupted completely. Ji Yushishua hurried over. He held Yi Qingge tightly. He comforted her softly. Her own eyes reddened as well. I looked at Yi Qingge, who was in utter pain. She watched the Nightingale man struggling to escape. A cold glint flashed in his eyes. At this moment, it has completely condensed into substance. You have to leave. Have you asked me? I flicked my fingers. Burn 10 years of life. The quagmire of time. Final. The Nightingale man's line of terror. The space around yourself. In that instant, it becomes extremely viscous. In that instant, it becomes extremely viscous. He felt like a worm sealed in a lake. He flicked a finger in succession. It became extremely difficult. I took it step by step. She walked up to him, looking beneath his mask, eyes slightly distorted from fear. Tell me. Where is the headquarters of your immortal society? Rabbit, you have collected so many beast masters and fragmented lives. What exactly is it for? You actually know about the immortal society. Kid, you're dead. The plan of the divine envoy. No one can stop it. Even if your strength is unmatched. In the eyes of the divine envoy, it was nothing more than a relatively strong ant. The divine master will take all of you. All are refined into the most perfect immortal beings. After speaking, a trace of innocence flashed in his eyes. Surprisingly, it was just a bit extraordinary. He actually tried to self-destruct Genshin Impact. I snorted coldly. Under the control of Jiuyo Heavenly Palace Ju, a sharp surge of immortal power. It instantly pierced into his Dantian, completely seal off his origin. Even self-destructing became a luxury for him. However, before I could continue questioning, Yi Yingmanzi was the golden epiphyllum mark deep in her brow. Suddenly, it lit up with a strange glow. Immediately after, his soul began to melt at an extremely terrifying speed. It transformed into a sky full of starlight, dispersing between heaven and earth. This is a forbidden soul. Once the secret is leaked, will automatically destroy the soul. It seems, the forces behind this immortal society, extremely enormous. Moreover, the situation was extremely ruthless. I turned around. He walked up to Yi Qingge. He slowly crouched down, looking at this female disciple crying with tears streaming down her face. The softest part of my heart. It was gently touched. I stretched out my right hand, gently wiping away the tears from her cheeks. Clear song, I cried. I promise you. One day, I will take you with me, personally trampling this eternal life society. Let them live up to what they did back then. Pay the price you deserve. Yi Qingge looked up, looking into my deep, boundless eyes, feeling the warmth from my palm. At that moment, her heart was somewhat cold from hatred. At this moment, I felt an unprecedented warmth and peace. She gasped and nodded. I trust Master. Beside him, Liu Ruyan also gripped the Azure Emperor creation sword tightly. His expression was as cold as ice. Ruyan wished to be master and junior sister, cutting down all enemies in the world. All right. Tonight's events. It was also a wake-up call. This Tiangong city, it was probably going to be a mess soon. We must improve our strength as soon as possible. Be fully prepared. In the following days, I shut my door and refused visitors. Besides the daily ironwork that accumulates lifespan, I began to fully guide the 3 disciples in their cultivation. Liu Ruyan cultivates in the 9 netherworlds, the sword extinction. Under the refinement of my lifespan spirit fire, her control over the Azure Emperor creation sword became increasingly proficient. He was already able to restrain his sword energy, the supreme realm of not letting go. Ji Yushishua then learned from me the more advanced 9 Nether Heavenly Palace divine patterns. Although this girl was clumsy in other areas, but when it comes to drawing divine patterns, yet possesses an almost intuitive talent. In just a few days, she was already able to handle some ordinary iron tools. He engraved a defensive certificate strong enough to withstand a full force attack from the concentration mirror. And after Yi Qingge had untied part of her emotional knot, his cultivation speed was even more astonishing. She perfectly matched the 9 nether body severing technique with her family's musical techniques. The sound of the flute played by the flute was played. There was already a faint trace of one of the laws that could interfere with and control the flow of spiritual energy. With her flute playing to assist the furnace in my blacksmith shop, it is already possible to remove impurities from metal and iron, completely eliminated. And during these fulfilling days, the lifespan within the body had already accumulated an astonishing 180,000 years. The strength of the 9 nether soldiers, and under the nourishment of this rich lifespan, it has recovered to 40%. He taught me a trick, a more advanced 9 nether secret art, the 9 nether world's divine aid seal. This is a move that can extend lifespan. This directly translates into substantial defense, and the supreme divine power to attack passports, as long as I am willing to defend, and the supreme divine power to attack passports. Filled with countless golden notices, the entire city instantly boiled with excitement once again. The Heavenly Palace Qi Refining Assembly. The official meeting was held 3 days later. Any Qi practitioner who can win a major competition, not only could he obtain an incredibly precious 5th grade Qi Refining Grandmaster badge, he could also receive a gift personally bestowed by the Lord of Qiangong City, a rare treasure passed down from ancient times for Qi refining. The indestructible fire seed for countless calamities. I looked at the contents of the notice. A flash of burning light passed through his eyes. The indestructible fire seed for countless calamities. Kid, this is really something good. The 9 nether heavenly palace within you is severed. What was missing was a peerless spark to complete the final transformation. As long as he obtained this invincible fire seed, your primordial lifespan furnace, it can be completely purified. At that time, you increase your lifespan by ironing. But it was more than 3 days. It might even be just 1 day. 10. It might even be just 1 day. 10 days. And continued for a whole year. Moreover, your mouth is too wild and green, with a garden roof. This level of flame is also needed. Only then can it be completely repaired. It showcases the true power of an ancient artifact. I took a deep breath. His mind was greatly reassured. It seems. The Heavenly Palace practice session. I definitely have to make a trip. Not just for this indestructible firefly. Moreover, because, according to the 9 nether soldiers sensing, those guys from the Eternal Life Society, it seems this practice tournament is also about this. Watching like a tiger, watching intently. They seem to be plotting something. I want to do so during the tournament. All the advanced practitioners of Qiangong City, caught all in one sweep, extract their life energy. I looked out the window at the sky gradually dimming. A cold smile curled at the corner of his mouth, and a confident smile. Go. Why not go? This time. Not just the practice conference. I want to see for myself. Who could it be? Behind the scenes, everything is being manipulated. Approaching the refining conference. There are still 3 days left. During these 3 days, defend our Lingji blacksmith shop, taken to the extreme, because I could feel it clearly. Beneath the calm surface of Qiangong City, undercurrents surged, like a beast with its jaws wide open, waiting for the night to fall. I returned to the foundry room in the backyard, watching the crimson flames flicker continuously within the furnace. He said to Ji Shishua beside him, "Shuer." He collected the cold iron sand over the past few days, pour it all into the furnace. He was going to personally reforge the foundation stone of the gate's grand formation. Ji Shishua obediently nodded. A pair of hands held a heavy amount of cold iron sand, carefully placed in the furnace hall. Yi Qingge stood nearby. It is like holding a cup of ancient sentiment. Black hair hangs down on her shoulders. There was a hint of determination in his eyes. "Master, Qingge is here to support you." Qin Ying spoke slowly, like flowing water brushing over mountain rocks. The originally raging furnace flames, with Qin Ying calming them down, it had become incredibly docile. I grabbed the heavy black iron hammer. His entire body of immortal power and the origin of the beast fate danced faintly together. He silently recited in his heart, burning 5 years of beast affinity, integrated with the hammer edge. When a heavy hammer strikes down, golden sparks sparkled in the night. Every strike. All of these were accompanied by the consumption of beast affinity, but in return, it was that iron-containing sandy brick. Impurities are quickly removed. It transformed into a formation core radiating a faint blue glow from its entire body. "Kid, Your technique blends beast ties with ironware. They are getting more and more skilled. As long as he could match this girl's zither music formation, even if a powerful expert at the peak of the concentration mirror arrived. Nor can you break through your blacksmith shop in half an hour. I smiled slightly. Fine beads of sweat appeared on his forehead, but I felt incredibly reassured. Live long. It doesn't mean waiting to die. In this world where the strong prey on the weak, only by playing your trump cards can you play your cards fully. Only then can peace be preserved for generations. Right, there are the three of us, master and disciples. While busy in the backyard, Liu Ruyan hurriedly walked in from outside. Her sword sheath still carried a faint frost. Master, something happened outside. Jin Fugue from the Wanqi Pavilion, accompanied by a young man dressed in a red robe. They are aggressively winning people's hearts at the street corner. The young man reportedly. They were the top chess family in the city, the young master of the Ouyang family, Ouyang Kwong. He threatened to hold a chess training conference. Let's find the spirit trace blacksmith thing. He became a complete laughingstock. Ouyang Kwong, I muttered to myself. He slowly lowered the heavy hammer in his hand. The Ouyang family has deep roots in Tiangong City. Skill must not be overlooked. Since Ouyang Kwong is the young master, he must have some real skill. However, they absolutely shouldn't have done this, coming to provoke me at a time like this. Like Yang, don't pay attention to them. Our goal is the indestructible spark. As for the other clowns, if they dare to reach out in contempt, I don't mind. Give them lessons that will last a lifetime. 3 days. It passes in the blink of an eye. When the first rays of morning sunlight, when illuminating the magnificent bronze city walls of Tiangong City, the entire city was completely boiling over. Countless rogue cultivators, artifact forger, as well as envoys from the major sects. They all surged toward the Jiushuan Plaza in the city center. The square was enormous. The center is neatly arranged. The top of these hundreds of massive artifact refining furnaces, emitting various spiritual lights, not at all spectacular. I took Ji Shishua with me. Liu Ruyan and Yi Qingge blend quietly into the crowd. Walking into the square, Yi Qingge wore a blue gauze bamboo hat. It covered her delicate and refined face, but the elegance she exudes is ethereal. It still attracted the attention of many young cultivators. Yo, isn't that the little manager of the Lin Ji blacksmith shop? He actually dared to attend the conference. A mocking cold laugh. Suddenly, a voice came from not far away. I turned my head. Jin Fugue was waving a gold-threaded folding fan. She looked at me with a face full of pride. And beside him, standing there was a man with a tall expression. A young man wearing a red robe embroidered with a flaming totem. The man's peach blossom eyes flickered in his eyes, full of disdain and contempt. Presumably, this person was Ouyang Kwong. Ouyang Kwong sized me up and down. When he saw the plain-looking dark gold Lu shovel behind me, he couldn't help but burst out laughing. Boss Jin, he couldn't help but burst out laughing. Boss Jin, you said it before. It was this mortal blacksmith. HMPH, he smashed the ultimate trash of ancient iron. It seems that guy Gu Tai. It really feels like the more you live, the worse you go. Even Lu Man, a street man who doesn't even appear on stage, it could scare him out of his wits. Young Master Ouyang was absolutely right. This kid was just lucky. He just knows some crooked ways. Today, facing young Master Ouyang's absolute strength, he will surely reveal his true nature. Jin Fugue tried his best to flatter him from the side. A pair of small eyes were filled with a sinister light. My expression was calm. He couldn't even be bothered to spare them a glance. Instead, Liu Ruyan stepped forward. The Azure Emperor creation sword in his hand trembled slightly. A crisp sword cry rang out, an arrogant and reckless people. And so I started commenting on my master. What a signature sword cultivator girl. What a signature sword cultivator girl. Unfortunately, he had followed the wrong master. After today, let me let you know. What is a true chi refining prodigy? A crisp Shongning voice rang out. A thunderous roar erupted above the square. All the noise was instantly drowned out. The Lord of Tiangong City, one clad in bronze armor, a middle-aged man with unparalleled authority, slowly landed on the management desk in the center of the square. He scanned the entire room. The sound was like a rainbow in the midst of heavy rain, resonating in everyone's ears. The Tiangong City training tournament officially began. First round. Pure smelting. All participants must be within half an hour. The mysterious ice meteoric iron on the desk, melting to the highest purity. Purity reaches over 90%. Only then can one advance. As soon as he finished speaking, the 100 contestants all sprang into action. For a moment, the square was illuminated with a dazzling array of colors. Various colors of true tigers of their true colors lit up one after another. It's truly dazzling. Yang Kwong smiled proudly. He slammed his hands on the stove with both hands. He slammed his hands the furnace top. Phew! A mass of crimson flames. It instantly burst from his palm, transforming into a flying fire sparrow. Wrap the profound ice cloud iron inside. That was the Yang family's inherited spiritual flame. Red sparrow flame. No wonder he's the prodigy of the Yang family. As soon as he made his move, this is precisely the kind of heaven and earth spirit fire. It seems that the first place in the first round, it was none other than Yang Kwong. I withdrew my gaze. Looking at the spot on his desk, the icy Xianbing Yuntai was piercing. This iron is extremely difficult to smelt. Ordinary flames simply cannot melt it, not to mention removing impurities. I took a deep breath, silently reciting in his heart, 9 nether ice threads, help me cover for him. The shadow of the ice group trembled slightly inside me, a faint grey barrier. In an instant, the dark platform where I was enveloped from the outside. The stove is burning on top of my stove. Just the most ordinary red charcoal fire. There was nothing unusual at all. However, inside the barrier, I will drive away one altar, burning 10 years of longevity fate, life and soul. A wind arose, a wisp of golden flame. And threw it into the furnace. Under the burning of the life spirit fire, the originally indestructible profound ice cloud iron, in the blink of an eye, it began to melt like snow. Black impurities within it, within the golden flames, it instantly turned into blue smoke, and vanished without a trace. I remained calm. He pulled the bellows again and again. His movements are steady and rhythmic. Yi Qingge stood nearby, although he couldn't help directly, but he softly hummed some kind of wonderful music. It made my heart clear. He has always maintained his peak form. Half an hour. It passed quickly. Right, the bell rang again. Chief disciple of the outer sect of the Xuanyu sect. Purity is 80%. Advanced. Scattered cultivators without a name or form. Purity is 82%. Advanced. When the elders approached Yang Kwong, looking at the mass in the furnace top, it is an almost transparent blue liquid. Shock appeared on their faces. Purity is 93%. This is simply the perfect profound ice iron transport. Yang Kwong stood tall and proud. She glanced at me sideways. His face was full of pride. See that? This is true strength. Your junk metal. I doubt it could even melt it. However, its entire body radiated dazzling golden light. When the liquid was like a golden glue column, his whole body was damp in place. That's all. Purity is 99%, and inside these iron leaves, it actually contained a trace of pure vitality. How is this possible? An elder with white hair couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. His voice trembled slightly. The entire square, in an instant, a dead silence fell. 99% purity. This has already surpassed the realm of spiritual energy. It's almost like an immortal-grade ingredient. The smile on Yang Kwong's face, it froze instantly. That's impossible. A smile on his face, it froze instantly. That's impossible. He had already cheated. He is a worldly blacksmith. How could it possibly be melted to 99% purity? Yang Xiaoshu. The facts are right in front of us. If you refuse to accept it, you can come and test it yourself. Yang Kwong gritted his teeth, but there was nothing to say at all. The elders who tested repeatedly confirmed that there was no successor. He gave me a deep look. Close to the blacksmith's shop, on the way back. Purity is 99%. First place in the first round. Advanced. I knew it was real. Liu Ruyan and Yi Qingge also exchanged a knowing smile. Her beautiful eyes were full of admiration and pride. I smiled. He did not become arrogant because of this. This is only the first step. Next is the second round. This is the real test. The first round ended. Among the 100 participants, only 30 people successfully advanced. The rest were eliminated. Jin Fugui looked at me with his eyes. He became increasingly wary, and the situation was already sinister. He quietly walked over to Yang Kwong's side. He whispered something. After Yang Kwong listened, a flash of a sharp wild listen flashed in his eyes. A flash of sharpness flashed in his eyes. Lin Fan. Don't get too cocky too soon. Second round. Divine literature is deeply studied in the curriculum. Each contestant must infuse spiritual power into the iron foil they have smelted, and immediately dive into the divine script for defense or offense. The final outcome is determined by the grade and completeness of the divine script. Before the match began, Yang Kwong suddenly walked over to my side. She looked at me with a somewhat provocative expression. Lin Fan, I've heard your two female disciples are exceptionally talented. The other understood music, the other knows formations. I wonder this time, do you dare let your apprentice take your place to dive into this divine text? If you don't dare. He admitted he was a cowardly turtle. I looked at his mischievous smile. He immediately understood his scheme. This Yang Kwong was clearly a scheme by him. Yang Kwong clearly saw through my practice techniques, worried about losing again. That's why he came up with this underhanded move, attempting to provoke him, put Jiyu Shishue or Yi Qingge, who had no combat experience, on the field. Thus, they manipulated the competition, hurt them. Liu Ruyan, standing nearby, called out with her beautiful eyes. The long sword was about to be drawn. Master, let me teach him a lesson. I raised my hand to stop Liu Ruyan, looking at Yang Kwong. A playful smile curled at the corner of his mouth. All right. Since young Master Yang has such refined interests. So this round. So I let my useless little disciple Shui do it. Fight in my place, teacher. Respect. You want me to play? Jiyu Shishue pointed at herself somewhat flusteredly. Her upturned face was full of nervousness. I patted her head. Rosheng said, Shui, do not be afraid. The things I usually teach you. You have long been well acquainted with it. Today, all you need to do is quietly make a stroke as you would at the blacksmith's shop. But, Jiyu Shishue looked into my eyes full of encouragement and trust, and her previously nervous mood miraculously calmed down. Fine, Shui, listen to your master and absolutely won't lose face. Seeing Jiyu Shishue actually step onto the stage, a triumphant cold smile flashed in Yang Kwong's eyes as she gestured to one of her subordinates nearby. With a look, her subordinate Hui quietly took out a black jade pendant emitting a ghostly glow from her bosom. The jade pendant was engraved with an extremely sinister disturbance pattern. It was specifically used when others were transferring divine runes, disrupting the fluctuations of spiritual energy. The heart was shattered by the divine pattern. At worst, spiritual power backlashes against it. It harms the mind and spirit. The competition began. Yang Kwong personally took the stage. His expression was grave. His hands traced crimson waves of light through the air. It was the divine pattern of repelling spirits. Peace. A scorching shadow divine pattern radiated heat, along with divine patterns, slowly merging into the molten iron before his eyes. It radiates an extremely powerful offensive pressure. Meanwhile, Jiyu Shishue sat quietly in front of the dark stage. A pair of small hands gripped a slender carving knife. Some strokes glide across the dark golden liquid. Her movements were extremely slow, but every stroke feels extremely natural. It seemed to resonate with some rhythm between heaven and earth. Just as Jiyu Shishue was halfway through her carving, one of Yang Kwong's subordinates, he quietly activated the disturbing spirit jade pendant in his arms. Buzz, an invisible fluctuation of black spiritual power radiated out, like rippling water, quietly spreading toward Jiyu Shishue's dark platform. Yi Qingge was playing the flute to liven up the flute. He keenly sensed this unusual fluctuation. His flute tone shifted. It instantly became high-pitched and urgent, transformed into an invisible sonic barrier. He firmly blocked the black spiritual energy 3 feet away. People from the Yang family. His methods were truly shameless. Yi Qingge's voice was cold and clear, faintly spread through the flute sound. I snorted coldly. His body remained unmoved, but my divine sense had already locked onto the mischievous cultivator. Burn the 50-year zoo. Leverage strength against strength. A faint golden glow flashed in my eyes, the black spiritual energy blocked by Yi Qingge's bulging back. Under the control of my beast fate origin, he actually made a sharp turn in midair. Not only did it not dissipate, instead, his speed had increased tenfold. It fiercely backfired back into the body of the cultivator who had activated the jade pendant. Phew. The cultivator's face instantly turned deathly pale. A mouthful of fresh blood spurted out. He collapsed limply to the ground, and lost consciousness of human affairs, and the disturbing spirit jade pendant in his arms. It was also shattered into a cloud of powder. What's going on? Yang Kwong was startled. He had no idea what was happening, and at that moment, Jiyu Shishue's transfer of customers, it was already at the final moment. He exhaled lightly, The carving knife in his hand gently tapped at the Iron Industry Center. 9 Nether Heavenly Palace. The Black Tortoise Jade Heaven. Ning, boom, a dazzling golden light. Suddenly, he shot up from Gu Shishua's dark platform. In midair, it transformed into a faintly visible golden black tortoise Shu Yi, a sacred and solemn pressure. It instantly filled the entire square. Oh my god, that was the defensive divine script Xuanwu Jade Heaven. This is a no-grade main text. How old is this little girl? How old is this little girl? To be able to carve such divine script alone. Ha ha ha, genius. What a peerless prodigy. Our Tiangong city has produced such a prodigy. Shuai did it. I smiled and nodded. Shuai is amazing. He didn't embarrass his master. Ouyang Kuang stood there in a daze, looking at his proud crimson blood divine pattern. Under the pressure of the Xuanwu phantom, it actually split open inch by inch. Finally, a spray. It turned into a sky full of crimson sparks, dissipate into the air. His divine pattern was actually shattered by force. The results of the second round of competition. No doubt about it. The Spirit Trace Blacksmith lunged at the Bloodsuck. First place, advanced to the finals. Although Ouyang Kuang barely advanced, but his expression was already extremely grim. He stared at me intently, the hatred and murderous intent in his eyes. It was almost condensed into substance. Condensation. Condensation. It was almost condensed into substance. Lin Fan, it's just that you forced me. Ha ha ha. Finals. I will have you and your disciples. None of them could leave here alive. I looked at him calmly. He calmly withdrew his gaze. A clown, perfectly attached. Next up was the finals of the Tiangong Qi Refining Tournament. And I will also welcome the true indestructible spark, and the conspiracy of the immortal society hidden deep in the darkness. The final competition topic. Extremely simple. It is also extremely cruel. Practice freely. No material restrictions. No time limit. Based on the final weapon grade and level. To determine the sole champion. On this day, the atmosphere at Jiuquan Square, suppressed to the extreme. The whole sky was shrouded in a thick layer of dark clouds. It weighed heavily on everyone's heads. The Lord of Tiangong City on the high platform, with a grave expression, he took out a piece entirely made of purple gold. Even the microspace was distorted with flames, slowly rising upward. This is the indestructible fire seed. It is not only a treasure for forging weapons, there is also the purification and refinement of the soul. The extraordinary effects of longevity advice. Looking at the spark, in the eyes of all participants, all showed expressions of near-mad greed. Kid, this is the spark. Just get it. I can use it to recondense my physical body. And your life source will also undergo a complete transformation. I smiled and nodded. Don't worry, Binzu. This spark, today, no one can take it away. The competition began. Ouyang Kuang was the first to strike. Unleashing endless resentment. A black item with a sinister aura. Lin Fan. Today, I, the young master, will let you know what is truly a real hand-to-hand tactic. Ouyang Kuang's expression showed a hint of determination. He suddenly pulled open the cork. A thick dark red mist appeared. It gushes out from the bottle, accompanied by the leader's wails. That was the Ouyang family's 100-year history. Countless resentments and spirits gathered. He actually arose from a shadowy spirit. He actually wanted to use these vengeful spirits, come with a blood love for the divine weapon. Many righteous cultivators built nearby. They all showed expressions that were indistinguishable, but due to the Ouyang family's vast power, yet no one dared to step forward to criticize him. Ouyang Kuang poured all his resentment into his red sparrow eyes. The flames instantly turned into an extremely eerie dark red. He began pouring various diluted rare treasures into the furnace. His movements were wild yet skillful. I looked at the black bone bottle in his hand. He frowned slightly. Yi Qingge walked over to me, pointing at the bone bottle. Her fair little hands were a bit white from the force. Master, it's that aura. It's exactly the same resentment on the gold-masked man who destroyed my Yi family. The Ouyang family really did collude with young Master Yong. Qian, don't panic, since they had revealed their true colors. So today, I will clean them all up. I walked to my own furnace, He ignored Ouyang Quang's provocation. I slowly closed my eyes. Put your mind and spirit. He was completely immersed in the 9 nether heavenly palace technique within his body. I only have some ordinary Xian iron and cold iron in hand. From the outsider's perspective, these materials simply can't be used. It simply couldn't compare to Ouyang Quang's diluted rare treasures. But in front of my life spirit fire, even if it's just ordinary stone playing, it can also transform into a divine weapon from the 9th heaven. I took a deep breath, silently reciting in his heart, burning 1,000-year life fate, merging with the life spirit fire. Give it to me. Boom. A dull boom. It exploded in my dantian. Immediately after, a mass of pure gold all over, flames dazzling like the blazing sun, instantly burst forth from my furnace. Xianhao Refuge, which illuminates the entire plaza. That blinding light, let the once gloomy sky, were completely torn apart in that instant. The 9 nether pillar divine leaf, the 9 nether sacrifice sword. Recasting. I mentioned the forged black iron that seemed somewhat intrusive. Since ancient times, my clothes have been free of wind. A head of black hair flared wildly in the golden flames. I took a step forward. The first blow was dropped. Right. The voice was crisp and melodious. It was like a god from the 9th heaven striking the heavens. Under this hammer strike, that ordinary piece of black iron, within the golden flames, in an instant, it transformed into a blade, its entire body radiating dazzling golden light. Some are about 3 feet long, a long sword without a trace of impurity. Fetus. They frantically converged toward the longsword. Liu Ruyan closed her eyes in deep thought. He used his own Wugo sword shadow, turning into strands of emerald green drifting threads, and followed the sound of the flute. It merged into the longsword. There are 4 of us, master and disciples. At this moment, the energies are interconnected. Their hearts and minds were in harmony. Under everyone's astonished gazes, that originally ordinary iron sword, the surface color began to change continuously. White, blue, purple, gold. Every transformation would trigger extremely faint void fluctuations around the sword. Genius. This is true unity between heaven and man, the peak of training. The Lord of Tiangong City on the high platform, he was already so excited that he couldn't speak. His hands gripped the bronze handrail tightly. His eyes were full of respect and awe for me. Meanwhile, on the other side, Ouyang Quang began to practice. It was already at the final moment. His face twisted with rage. His hands frantically cut through all kinds of black, ferocious creatures. Her hands frantically cut through various black crafts. 10,000 demons and blood. May the spirits train the troops. Let me taste it. Boom. One radiated overwhelming evil energy. The wind body is dark red and re-released. Suddenly, it shot out from the top of his skull. Circling in midair, it emitted an extremely terrifying, eerie aura. It worked. A supreme spiritual treasure. The resentful blood sword. Ouyang Quang laughed wildly. He stared at me intently. Kid. My sword of resentment has become scrap metal. Take it out and face death. I slowly opened my eyes. He looked at the heavy sword in the void, which emitted a foul stench and resentment. His eyes were full of disgust and disdain. Twisted and crooked paths. Yet he dares to call himself a divine soldier. I took a deep breath, raised the heavy hammer, landing the final blow, when the golden sword whistled and accompanied the faint thunder above the 9 heavens. In that instant, the sound echoed throughout Tiangong City. I saw the golden longsword in my hand. At the moment of quenching, it erupted with myriad sacred golden lights, completely dispelling the dark clouds in the sky. A faintly visible 9 nether divine aid incense. He flashed behind the longsword. At that time, it surpassed the supreme spiritual treasures. He even faintly touched on supreme spiritual treasures. He even faintly touched the threshold of immortal energy. Supreme divine weapon. The pure wind sword of the 9 netherworlds. Go. I waved my hand casually. The golden longsword transformed into a streak of golden light. The dark red greatsword shot straight into the void, and did not overestimate his own strength. Ouyang Quang snorted coldly. He activated the vengeful blood sword to meet the attack. However, the moment the 2 swords touched in midair, the earth-shattering collision that had been imagined did not happen. The sacred golden light radiating from my 9 nether clear wind sword. The moment he touched those dark red resentments, it was as if spring snow had met the scorching sun. He instantly purified and dissipated all his resentment. Crack! A crisp cracking sound rang out. Ouyang Quang's proud top-grade Lingbao Yuan blood cocoon. Under the pressure of the golden longsword, tearing inch by inch. In the end, it turned into a pile of dark red scrap iron, spilled all over the ground. Plop. The Dharma treasure was destroyed. Ouyang Kwong suffered an unprecedented backlash. He spat out a mouthful of primordial immortal energy. He collapsed to the ground. His face was deathly pale as paper. He stared intently at the broken iron on the ground. No, that's impossible. Our Ouyang family has a century of heritage. How could I lose to a mortal like you, Iron? Not for you, annoying blacksmith. A deadly plan for the whole venue. Everyone stood frozen in place, with a gaze almost like a god, looking at me standing in the golden light. That little blacksmith Lin Fan. He actually defeated Ouyang Kwong, and with such overwhelming force. An undisputed gesture. The Ouyang family's century-old heritage, completely shattered. The Lord of Tiangong City took a deep breath, slowly walking down from the stands. He took the purple gold treasure box containing the indestructible fire seed. He held his hands in front of me. Manager Lin Fan. Your crafting rituals. I have always been cautious and vigorous. This indestructible fire seed, truly well-deserved reputation. Thank you, City Lord. I smiled slightly. He took the treasure box, put away the embers. He and his apprentices embark on a new journey. We ride the breeze. They headed straight toward the distant divine weapon pavilion. All along the way, majestic mountains slowly receded beneath our feet. Golden sunlight falls on the green leaves. Ripples of light shimmered, blowing away all previous gloom. To avoid unnecessary trouble, we did not make a big splash. It is just like traveling together. He is like an ordinary traveler traveling through mountains and rivers. The firewood had already been added. The temperature was just right. Jiu Shishue sat on a flat blue stone. Both hands rested on his chin. A pair of big eyes sparkled as they looked at me. Her cheeks looked quite charming under the rosy glow of the stove. I smiled slightly. He reached out and placed a portable small gold bronze furnace on the ground. Although this small stove wasn't very large, but inside, I had used divine patterns to engrave dozens of layers of the universe array, enough to accommodate extremely high temperatures. Yichinga sat cross-legged quietly nearby. He rested that rustic and elegant chin across his lap, as his slender fingertips slowly rippled on the strings. An ethereal melody spreads with the wind. The originally slightly hot stove fire, comforted by the sound of the zither. He had become incredibly docile. The flames gently enveloped the mysterious body inside the furnace. Yu Ruyan stood under a peach tree not far away, holding the sword of light earth painting. With the rhythm of the piano's music, he practiced the Juryo-ji annihilation sword step by step. The sword energy was like strands of emerald green threads, weaving together in the air into an impenetrable air, an airtight protective net, enveloping the entire 100-jong radius. Watching this scene, a long-lost sense of peace rose in my heart. This is the spiritual life I have always longed for. There is no endless killing or scheming. There were only 4 masters and disciples, a batch of coffee, 1 capture, a single sword, quietly comprehending the heavenly Tao in the mortal world. I picked up the black iron hammer that had followed me for years, looking at the ordinary iron in the furnace, already glowing red. He took a deep breath. Now, my lifespan in my body reaches 130,000 years, and after fusing with the indestructible fire seed, every time he struck iron, the lifespan that could be extended had already increased to a full 10 days. Yichinga's primordial power flowed along my arm, silently poured into the iron. Lifespan increases by 10 days. In my mind, that familiar mysterious notification sounded again. I felt quite comforted. The heavy hammer in his hand swung with increasing rhythm. Ta-da-da-da-da-da. The crisp jingle sounds are endless. Under my constant knocking, the originally rough iron began to shrink rapidly. Lift your lips. The pitch-black color on the surface faded away. Master's forging posture. Every time I watched it, they all felt it contained endless ambiguity. As if recalling all things in heaven and earth. All of it was rhythmically moving with the master's hammer. Yichinga also smiled faintly. The music at his fingertips grew more melodious. Master's way of practice. He had long surpassed the constraints of the walking corpse. This is truly the greatest simplicity of the great way. I put away the hammer. He completely transformed that piece of it. Placed the iron from the golden sword into cold water. Sheila, a wave of pure white mist rose up. It turned into a sky full of sharp colors. Dissipate into the air. Lifespan increases by 500 days. Just a brief tap. My lifespan steadily increased once again. This kind of gradual development, a feeling of control over everything, it made me feel incredibly secure. However, in this immortal realm where the strong prey on the weak, even if we have no intention of fighting others, troubles always come unexpectedly. Just as we were about to put away the tools, as they continued on their journey, at the entrance to the valley, suddenly, a burst of extremely noisy commotion erupted. Immediately after, a dozen young men dressed in flaming totem robes, a dozen or so young cultivators dressed in flaming totem robes, riding spirit beasts radiating a scorching aura. I forced my way into this tranquil valley. The young man leading them wore an extremely luxurious dark red brocade robe, his expression proud and his eyes full of determination. No one showed pride. This man was the young master of Feihua Valley, the largest sect nearby, named Yang Qianlai. Looking down at us from above, young master, look, in this remote and impoverished place, to encounter such a stunning third woman. Noble lady, you truly are a great fortune, young master. That blacksmith. What do these three women belong to you? I, the young master, am in a good mood today. There are 10,000 mid-grade immortal stones here. Leave them there. You can get lost. After speaking, he waved his hand casually. A bag of immortal stones clattered and landed at my feet. The attitude was extremely arrogant. Yu Ruyan, standing by the ground, had a cold look in her beautiful eyes. Her jade hand was already pressing down on the hilt of the Qingdi creation sword. His whole body radiated a cold frost. His entire body radiated a cold, frosty killing intent. An arrogant and reckless people. How dare you disrespect your master? Courting death. I raised my hand slightly. He stopped Yu Ruyan's actions. I looked at Yang Qianlai, his expression still calm and unreadable. This young master. Though the immortal stone is good, but my disciples are not goods. I beg you to respect yourself. Leave quickly. Do not mislead yourself. Yang Qianlai acted as if he'd just heard the biggest joke. He laughed shamelessly. Misleading oneself. You're just a street blacksmith with no trace of precedent. And you dare to talk about self-deprecation in front of me, the young master. Within this 1,000-mile radius, what I say in Feihua Valley is the rule. If you don't care about saving face, then don't blame me for being strong. Someone, as for these three troublesome blacksmiths, break his limbs and throw him into the back mountain to feed the wolves. At Yang Qianlai's command, several Feihua Valley disciples behind him sneered. They all activated their immortal power, wielding various thunder powers and wielding various magical treasures. They charged at us aggressively, and I sighed. Why do these so-called prodigies from prestigious families always act so recklessly and insist on hitting a rock wall? Crash! Like a swallow, a clear song, her strikes lightly bleed, adding a sense of filth. The disciple received the order. Yu Ruyan replied coldly. Yi Qingge held the guqin across her chest. The guardian struck the strings with a fierce wave, breaking the formation. Go, east, a very muffled sound. There was a somewhat high-pitched piano sound. It transformed into an invisible giant wave of sound. In an instant, he drained all the spiritual energy within 100 zhong radius. Those few flying tigers at the front were patching the ground. He felt as if his chest had been struck hard. The immortal power within his body instantly dissipated, along with the spirit beasts they were sitting on. He was thrown backward in a sorry state. He crashed heavily to the ground. What? Yang Qianlai was startled. He never expected this gentle woman playing the zither. He actually possessed such terrifying mastery of music. Sing together. Yang Qianlai shouted angrily. He quickly formed hand seals with both hands. A blazing flame, in the palm of his hand. It gathered wildly in his palm. It transformed into a giant flame palm several zhong tall. With the momentum of a mountain-splitting fierce rock, he slammed fiercely toward Yi Qingge. Yu Ruyan's figure shifted slightly. In an instant, it transformed into a streak of emerald green light. He stood in front of Yi Qingge, the Azure Emperor painted sword in his hand. He didn't even draw his sword, but with the sword scabbard all along with it. A gentle swipe in midair. This stroke, no earth-shattering explosions. Only a wisp of emerald green sword energy remained. Like a gentle breeze brushing his face, he met the giant flaming palm in midair. Boom! That terrifyingly powerful flaming giant palm. The moment he touched the emerald sword energy, it was as if snow had met a hunter. It dissolved silently and imperceptibly, dissipating between heaven and earth. But Yu Ruyan's figure did not stop. He instantly appeared right in front of Yang Qianlai. The scabbard left a lingering shadow in the void. A heavy blow landed on his chest. Bang! Yang Qianlai was sent flying straight from the back of the crimson flame mad lion. It spun several times in the air. He fell awkwardly into a bush barrel. The magnificent red robe was torn to shreds. Her hair was messy and covered in dirt. Who exactly are you? Yang Qianlai struggled to get up. His eyes were filled with terror and disbelief. He was, after all, a cultivator at the early stage of the concentration mirror. In front of this girl in white, he couldn't even get past with a single move. Those once arrogant flying tiger ghost underlings. At this moment, everyone was so terrified their faces turned pale. They all gathered to shield Yang Qianlai, not even daring to breathe loudly. I picked up a cup of freshly brewed clear tea. He took a gentle sip. His expression remained calm as ever. Now, we can talk properly. Yang Qianlai gritted his teeth, although he was deeply terrified, but deep down, pride still made him unwilling to bow his head. Just you wait. My father is the master of Feihua Valley, a peerless powerhouse in the early years of Yuan Yingjing. You dare to hurt me? Feihua Valley will never let you off. Hearing this, I put down the teacup in my hand. A faint golden light flashed in his eyes. Originally, it was surprising. He did have some strength. But in my eyes, still nothing more. I slowly stood up. His right hand casually tapped the void, long as it lingered in the heavenly palace, shrinking the ground to an inch. Buzz, my figure vanished from where I stood in an instant. When it reappears, he had already arrived in front of Yang Qianlai. The distance between the two, no more than 1 finger. Yang Qianlai didn't even see clearly how I moved. He felt a tidal wave crashing down on him, a terrifying pressure like an ancient divine mountain. In an instant, it pressed down on his shoulder. That overwhelming pressure, heavy, brainless, there was not the slightest fluctuation, but it made the slender green within him freeze instantly. Even breathing became incredibly difficult. The original yin region. Is it really that strong? I looked at him. The voice fell silent, lacking any courage. Go back and tell your father. If you want revenge, come to Tiangong City anytime to find me, Lin Fan. However, before that, you have to be sorry for your rudeness. Give a little bit of suspicion. I flicked my fingers. A very thin strand of golden longevity spirit artifact. In an instant, it merged into Yang Qianlai's Qi Si. In an instant, it merged into Yang Qianlai's Qi Si. This flame would not harm his physical body, but it will be in the next 3 months. Continuous purification, purifying the chaotic false fire within him. He endures every night like being roasted by a raging fire, yet it cannot stop the pain, until he can truly calm down and reflect. Get lost. I turned around, with hands behind his back. He walked back to the small stove. Yang Qianlai was as if he had been granted a general amnesty. He didn't dare say a word more. Crawling and stumbling, they led that group of somewhat battered soldiers and wasted families. He fled the valley in a panic. Master, that move you just made was really impressive. Jiyu Shishua gathered around me. That Yang Qianlai. Just now, she was so scared her face turned pale. It was truly satisfying. Thank you, Master. If it weren't for Master, Chinga is probably going to drag everyone down again today. Silly girl, you are my disciple. Protecting you thoroughly is my duty as a teacher. Moreover, your piano music today matches perfectly. It seems the second level of the 9 Nether Heavenly Palace Bureau. You have fully grasped it. The disciples are dull and dull. Thanks to Master's careful daily guidance, the renovation was complete. Daily careful guidance. After the renovations were finished, we set out again. After this small incident, the journey actually became much more harmonious. 2 days later, a bronze island made up of countless bronze islands floating above fiery red lava. A massive sealed gate woven together. It finally appeared before our eyes. That was the renowned sacred land of forging marvels in the immortal realm. Divine Weapons Pavilion. At the entrance of the Divine Weapon Pavilion, it is a massive bronze arch. Standing at the entrance stood 2 rows of bronze heavy trucks, the guard with his temples bulging high. Every temple is full. Clearly, their strength is impressive. I stepped forward. The purple gold letter Lin Xiaotian, Lord of Tiangong City, gave me. His previously somewhat casual expression, when he saw the special mark on the envelope representing Lin Xiaotian's identity, startled. He dared not be negligent. He respectfully walked along. Please wait a moment. I'll go report to the elder. A moment later, A slight hurried footsteps came from inside the bronze door. Only one was seen wearing a body. He saw a man dressed in a red robe. The middle-aged man with a rather arrogant expression, surrounded by a group of disciples. He walked out slowly. This person, he was called Elder Yuanhua. He was a top 10 elder in charge of outer sector affairs at the Divine Weapon Pavilion. He took the purple gold letter. He glanced over casually. He casually slipped the letter into his sleeve. He looked up. A pair of somewhat heroic little eyes swept over the four of us. In the end, it fell on me, when he noticed that I showed no trace of precedent. When twisted like a mortal blacksmith, his brows immediately furrowed deeply. You are Lin Fan. Elder Yuanhua's voice was rather sharp. There was an undisguised contempt in his tone. Is that old guy Lin Xiaotian confused? Our Divine Weapon Pavilion is such a sacred place. He actually recommended a street blacksmith with absolutely no cultivation at all. He came to request an audience with the pavilion master. What nonsense. Hey, old man. My master's skill in artifact forging. Even the Lord of Jiangong City couldn't stop praising him. How do you call him a common blacksmith? Elder Yuanhua snorted coldly. His gaze swept back and forth over Ji Yushishue and the other three women. When he saw the three women's stunningly beautiful faces, a flash of greed and amazement inevitably flashed deep in his eyes. Even a yellow-haired girl dares to shout loudly in my Divine Weapon Pavilion. The rules of our Divine Weapon Pavilion, and did not accept anyone who was useless. You, blacksmith, want to go in? It's not impossible. However, our Divine Weapon Pavilion has never kept idle people. If you want to stay, I have to have a match with my true disciple. If you win, I will take you to see the pavilion master. If you lose, speaking of which, he pointed out that he would only suck blood and wait 3 years. A greedy wicked smile curled at the corner of his mouth. You lost. We won't accept this shop. But you 3 female disciples, and his natural talent was not undeniable. So he stayed in my Divine Weapon Pavilion. Be my companion and maid. As soon as these words were spoken, on Liu Ruyan's body, that emerald green shadow of the extinction sword shadow, it reached its peak in an instant. The surrounding bronze stone steps, even under the pressure of this sword intent, fine cracks began to appear. Shameless. Yi Qingge's face was also as dark as water. A pair of hands rested on the zither, always ready to act. I raised my hand again. He stopped the 2 disciples. Since Elder Yuanhua has such refined interest, then Lin revealed the truth. I don't know what the question of this contest is. Elder Yuanhua saw me take the bait. A triumphant cold smile flashed in his eyes. These are the 3 top warriors of our Divine Weapon Pavilion. These 3 iron tops were forged from top-grade black iron. Extremely heavy. And inside, there is a very strong vibration. The competition questions were very simple. You and my true disciple Chihua. You and my true disciple Chihua. Each is made from the most ordinary anti-iron material. Within half an hour, forge a weapon that can resonate with these 3 iron summits. Who resonates the strongest? Of course, Chihua is a 3rd-rank practitioner of our Divine Weapon Pavilion. If you beg for mercy and surrender now, I can also give you a way out. With Elder Yuanhua's laughter, one was burly. A young red-haired cultivator radiating waves of heat all over. Denial from behind him. This person was his prized disciple, Kai Hua. Chihua looked at me. His eyes were full of disdain. Master, rest assured. Be careful. I will surely crush this mortal blacksmith completely inside a single pillar box. Ha ha ha. He brought those 3 junior sisters into his master's school. I sneered inwardly. The matter of the 3 crowns, using ordinary iron to trigger the resonance of the top-grade Xian iron crown. This is just a matter of inquiry. For ordinary artifact refiners, this seems almost impossible because ordinary iron is too long, Ordinary iron is too long to bear enough spiritual power, let alone trigger such a massive array resonance. But for those who possess the 9 Nether Heavenly Palace technique, for me, who has fused the indestructible fire seed, but it was somewhat childish. Since that's the case, let's start over there. I remained calm. They arrived at the most remote one, in front of some somewhat worn iron furnace roofs. Chihua snorted coldly. Take the initiative. His figure suddenly shuddered. The immortal power at the mid-stage of the concentration mirror erupted without reservation. A mass of deep red true flame. It was instantly poured into the furnace before him. Phew. The flames blazed fiercely. It heated the surrounding void until it was somewhat distorted. Chihua skillfully threw a piece of anti-iron into the furnace. His hands quickly formed hand seals in the air, one mysterious fire control array after another. He kept throwing them into the furnace fire endlessly. The technique was extremely skillful. Many disciples of the Divine Weapon Pavilion around witnessed this. Waves of cheers erupted one after another. Senior brother Chihua truly deserves to be a third-rank practitioner. This fire control technique. He is definitely a standout among the younger generation. That mortal blacksmith probably couldn't even make a fire. Ha ha. Amid the laughter of the crowd, I sat calmly in the stove. I sat calmly in front of the stove roof. Pull the bellows to let the fire slowly burn. Master, Suya is here to help you pull the bellows. Seeing this, Jiyu Shishue took the initiative to run over. A pair of fair little hands gripped the lever, pulling rhythmically. Her small face was full of seriousness, without the slightest sign of panic. Yi Chinga also walked aside, holding her guqin. Chinga supports the master. The melodious notes of the zither slowly began to play, like mountain springs and gentle breezes. The originally hot yet somewhat oppressive air in the square was lifted, most of it instantly diluted by half. Amid this melodious music, I slowly closed my eyes. He gently pressed his palm against the edge of the furnace. 9 Nether Heavenly Palace. Longevity is the heart. Burns for 200 years of lifespan. Rose, buzz, a hollow void faint that only I could hear, exploded in my chi si. Immediately after, the unchanging fire seed within me, under the forcible activation of the 200-year lifespan source. In an instant, a streak of pure golden flame burst forth, exuding an unparalleled nobility. This red flame, the moment this flame entered the furnace, I completely blocked his aura with the great dream Qianluo divine pattern. From the outside, it was lit in my stove, still just ordinary red burn hot. However, inside the barrier, that piece of low-textured traditional Chinese, under the burning of pure golden life spirit fire, the impurities instantly turned into blue smoke and dissipated. The originally rough iron block, it began to melt at an extremely terrifying speed. Purify, compression, internal molecular structure. A fundamental transformation is underway. I picked up the one and saw it. The somewhat old black iron heavy hammer. He took a deep breath. The first blow was dropped. Right, a crisp sound. It actually led with a mysterious dragon's roar. It rang out above the square. Under this hammer strike, whole block of anti-iron, some even transformed into a blade radiating dazzling golden light. Long-term contracts last. Carving knife. That's right, this time, I don't forge swords and blades. I only forge a carving knife. Right. I kept hammering again and again. The golden source of life. With every blow that fell, inside the carving knife, he perfectly constructed the ancient soul circuits of the 9 layers of Nether Heavenly Palace. Lifespan increases by 10 days. The sound of the tapping perfectly blended with Yi Chinga's emotional tone. In this noisy square, creating an extremely harmonious scene. Some wonderful blacksmithing symphonies. Half an hour passed quickly, when the bell of the Divine Weapon Pavilion rang again. Time's up. Stop. Get tested. Elder Yuanhua's voice was somewhat sharp. The silence in the square was instantly shattered. Chihua stopped his heavy hammer. Some were so smug that the whole shaft turned red. A supreme spiritual treasure short sword radiating violent heat waves. Taken out of the furnace, the short sword was covered in countless fire element array patterns. His power was astonishing. Master, the disciple will not be disgraced by his mission. Turning iron aids the spiritual troops. It worked, Chihua said arrogantly. He looked at me with contempt. Elder Yuanhua looked somewhat smug. He burst out laughing. All right. Excellent. Red fire, go, and stirred the 3 tripods. Let this ignorant mortal. Let's see the true foundation of my divine soldier brother. Chihua clasped his fists and saluted. Then he strode to the center of the square. He took a deep breath. He poured all the slender green from his body into the dagger without reservation. On the short sword, the fiery red light instantly expanded several jong. It transformed into a fiery red flaming. It slammed hard into the massive pitch-black iron peak on the far left. When a dull boom rang out, after the impact of the jet black iron summit, the dark red runes on his body, some started to light up unevenly. It emitted faint trembling sounds. Resonance is 50%. The short sword remained faint and undiminished. Skip the 2 iron tops in the middle and on the right again. The central iron roof lit up. Resonance is 40%. The iron top on the right lights up. Resonance level is 30%. 3 heads resonate. Overall, it achieved an extremely high level of resonance. The surrounding disciples of the Divine Weapon Pavilion, they all erupted in amazement and cheers. Lin Fan, my disciple has already finished. Now it's your turn. Don't even take out a piece of junk. Don't bring out a piece of scrap metal that's worse than trash. You have defiled the mausoleum of my Shenbang pavilion. I smiled calmly. He slowly stood up, under the trusting gazes of Ji Yushishue, Yu Ruyan, and the other 3 women, 7 factions. I casually walked to the center of the square. My leader held that sword, radiating dazzling golden light all over. The appearance is extremely exquisite, but the dark gold carving knife showed no trace of violent fluctuations. This is the weapon he forged. A carving knife. Is he out of his mind? Take a carving knife. To trigger the resonance of the defensive iron top, the surrounding disciples. When he saw the carving knife in my hand, the whole room burst into laughter again. I couldn't even be bothered to look him in the eye. I stood before 3 dark iron tops. His expression was as calm as a pool of autumn water. I slowly raised my right hand. He didn't use any immortal power, but he held a dark gold carved knife in his hand, facing those 3 massive black iron pillars. He gently waved it in the void. 9 near the heavenly palace. 10,000 soldiers bow their heads. Go. Go. When a strike is extremely weak. Faint sounds of metal clashing. It rang out in the silent square. That sound, not even as loud as a leaf falling to the ground. Elders Chihua and Yuanhua saw this, just as he was about to mock him, but in the next instant, let them be. Let everyone present. It even caused the entire divine weapon pavilion. All fell into a deathly silence and a terrifying phenomenon. It happened. Buzz. The one on the far left is the pitch black iron top. When it touched a faint golden ripple traced by the carving knife, countless ancient formation patterns on his body. In that instant, like countless stars twinkling, it erupted with unprecedented dazzling brilliance. Resonance degree. Duration. Perfect resonance. And that's not all. The black iron top in the center. Also in an instant, a divine light shone forth. The entire iron top trembled violently. It actually slowly floated in the void. Resonance degree. Achieved 10% success. Finally, the one on the far right is the pitch black iron top. Boom. With a sound piercing through the void, it explodes deep within everyone's soul. When the bell tolls, the rust on the surface of the pitch black iron roof peeled off instantly, revealing an incredibly noble golden hue. Resonance degree. Achieved 10% success. Resonance degree. Achieved 10% success. 3 top resonates perfectly. Resonance degree. Tenfold completion of the great perfection. And that's not all. Around the entire Jiuquan Plaza, those hundreds of thousands of vanguard forces that had quietly been inserted into the sword seeds. In that instant, it was as if he sensed the supreme ruler and general. They all trembled violently. A continuous series of crisp sword bells rang out. They are among the sword species. Uncontrollably, the blade bent down, aimed at the exquisite dark gold carving knife in my hand. They all made a kneeling gesture in unison. 10,000 soldiers pay homage in tribute. Cheng Cheng De Yuan. How is this possible? Kaihua was so shocked by the scene that he was a bit dumbfounded. He collapsed to the ground. He stared blankly at the 3 figures floating in midair, a top-tier patch radiating dazzling golden light. Then he looked at the hundreds of thousands of vanguard soldiers kneeling around him. His whole face looked ashen. That's not true. You must have used some kind of demonic technique. This is absolutely not true. Elder Yuanhua also cried out in surprise, a face that was once proud and spicy. At this moment, because of extreme shock and panic, it becomes extremely twisted and deformed. Immediately after, the entire massive divine weapon island. In that instant, she trembled violently, a streak of golden yellow all over. It exudes a true surpassing of Yuaningji. He even faintly touched upon the 7 gates tower of the divine transformation spirit. 5-way YA. It transformed into a streak of light. Some were a bit out of control. From the forbidden area at the deepest part of the divine weapon pavilion. For no reason. It was a formality. One head stumbling from the sky to the ground. He ran out. This person, a head of messy white hair. He only wore 1 boot. Yet the aura he radiated. Yet all the elders and disciples of the divine weapon pavilion present, all in an instant, kneeling all over the ground, and paid his respects. Pavilion. Main. Pay attention to those disciples kneeling on the ground in worship. His eyes were filled with red veins. He stared intently at the dark gold carving knife in my hand. He glanced at my calm yet somewhat ethereal demeanor. He was instantly drenched in sweat. Ouyang Wandao, the 17th master of the divine weapon pavilion, paying respects to the divine general ancestor. Unaware that the ancestor truly descended first, the emperor approached. The divine soldier's pavilion failed to welcome from afar. I hope the old master will atone for his offenses. Yang Wandao bowed once. The already quiet and somewhat frightening square. It instantly became a deathly silence. Pavilion Master. The Pavilion Master is supreme. This is the grand ritual of kneeling and bowing. Chihua was completely stunned. My mind was buzzing. He fainted on the spot. Elder Yuanhua's face was also deathly pale. His whole body trembled violently. He couldn't even utter a complete sentence. He knew. Today, it's not like they've hit a brick wall. Instead, he kicked the god. I glanced at it calmly. Yang Wandao knelt before him. He casually put away the dark gold carving knife. His expression remained calm as ever. Below Lin Fan, he was just a blacksmith from the mortal world. Not some ancestor. Come today. It was entrusted by Lin Xiaotian, the lord of Tiangong City. There is a letter of recommendation. A letter of recommendation. I want to borrow your pavilion's Qianquan Divine Aid diagram for a while. After hearing this, Yang Wandao said. He suddenly turned his head. A pair of angry eyes glared fiercely at the side. Elder Yuanhua, already terrified out of his wits. Traitor. Primordial fire. You actually dare to forcibly tear up the Divine Craftsman Patriarch's letter of recommendation. And yet you dare to speak shamelessly. Crashed into the ancestor's disciple. Someone. Strip me of the position of Elder Yuanhua. Driven into the abyss of the divine furnace, facing the wall, I reflect on the past 500 years. The brave warriors cannot be put to use on the road. Pavilion Master, please spare me. Ancestor, please spare me. A petty man with eyes fails to recognize Mount Tai. Elder Yuanhua wailed repeatedly. Pulled by two bronze heavy armor guards, he was dragged off the square in a sorry state. Ancestor, that Qianquan blessing divine diagram is the treasured treasure of our divine weapon pavilion. Since the ancestor needs it, I will now take you to the divine burial forbidden ground. The ancestor headed to the divine burial forbidden land. Patriarch, please. 3 heroines. Looking at Yang Wandao's humble attitude, Jiyu Shishua happily puffed out her somewhat proud little chest. He held Liu Ruyan's hand and whispered, Sister Ruyan, Sister Chinga, look. Where is Master? They are all the most powerful. Even such a powerful pavilion master. They all want the Lord. You have to call the Master to be the Master. Liu Ruyan smiled faintly. Master's abilities. How could ordinary people possibly guess this? Yi Chinga's eyes welled up. At this moment, it was also slightly damp. All along the way, she had witnessed too many masters who were truly miraculous. Yet he was also deeply loyal, with astonishing methods. At this moment, there was a trace of loneliness and hatred in her heart, filled with endless warmth and admiration. Complete replacement. Under the personal leadership of Yang Wandao, we passed through heavily guarded bronze passages. Finally, they arrived at the very core of the divine weapon pavilion. It is also the most mysterious realm. The divine pillar was empty in the air. At the center of the divine pillar void, a gigantic figure floated in the air. A mysterious scroll exuding the aura of ancient primordial chaos. On that scroll, mountains, rivers, and rivers. On that scroll, mountains, rivers, and rivers. Birds and beasts flew and beasts ran. All were made up of countless radiant rainbows. The vessels are interwoven with ancient vessel array patterns. Every unfolding and closing of the painting, all accompanied by circles of softness. The divine power of heaven and earth, and within 100 li of the area, a thin, mixed aura that does not belong to the righteous path. Disperse them all. This is what was passed down from ancient times. Supreme divine artifact, Qianquan assists the divine map. Ancestor, inside the Qianquan divine aid diagram, forming a small world of its own heavenly palace. The ancestor only needs to enter it. Circulate your supreme heart method. He could then make use of the red bright realm in this map. All of his heavenly beast spirits and causal effects, completely hidden. Even in the legends. The supreme of the immortal society who controls the heavenly Dao Yin tube, nor could they possibly detect even the slightest secret of the ancestors' heavenly secrets. I looked at the huge scroll floating in the air. A flash of burning light passed through his eyes. This is exactly what I need most right now. Only what is needed most right now. Just enter this path, concealing the secrets of heaven. Then I can quietly forge iron in this immortal realm, until my lifespan accumulated to tens of millions of years, even for hundreds of millions of years. By then, These gods and Buddhas of the heavens. In my eyes, it was just a one-off deal. However, things were far less smooth than we imagined. Just as I was about to take 3 disciples, stepping into the golden entrance of the Qianquan Pillar Divine Disciple, the original gentleness within the entire divine weapon realm, the sacred aura of Tiger, in that instant, without any warning, it completely froze. Phew. A strong and intense scent of the scent was brewing. Disgusting. A black wind with a chilling chill. Suddenly, from the depths of the surrounding void, they squeezed out wildly. The Qianquan Pillar Disciple who had been radiating golden light. Under the erosion of this black wind, surface glow, it began at a speed visible to the naked eye. It becomes extremely dim. Faintly, strands of ominous black epiphyllum potatoes began to appear. Not good. The formation was destroyed. Ouyang Wandao's expression changed dramatically. A somewhat unruly large beard. He quickly formed hand seals with both hands. He wanted to activate the Divine Weapon Pavilion's defensive formation. However, the threads inside his body had just started operating. A breath of hot breath suddenly exhaled from his mouth. The blood on his face instantly faded. Heavenly Lord Ruanjin-san. You Manhua. You traitor. The bronze gate of the forbidden military zone, with a boom, faced with a terrifying force like a tidal wave, forcibly smashed to pieces from the outside. Amidst flying debris and dust, one wore a luxurious dark gold robe, a mysterious man wearing a dazzling golden mask on his face, among a group holding magical treasures, surrounded by Eternal Life Society cultivators dressed in black, stepping on a cloth that was both extremely elegant and somewhat unbearably cold. He walked in slowly, the aura radiating from the man in the golden mask, extremely terrifying, like a deep abyss. It was like hell, that was truly surpassing the primordial yin realm, the supreme pressure of reaching the peak of the divine transformation mirror. This person is the true mastermind behind the immortal society. He is also the supreme eternal great protector. Startled by thoughts of the Supreme One, the Pavilion Master, sir, since parting, all has been well. Do you really think your Divine Weapon Pavilion's defense able to block the eternal plan of my Eternal Life Society? However, today's main target. It's not your lousy Divine Weapon Pavilion, rather. Lin Fan. The real little ones. In the mortal world, in Tiangong City, I died at your hands. I was still curious at first. What kind of existence is he? It could destroy so many worm seeds that had made me furious. But I never expected the fire of life within you. It had already become so rich it was almost unbelievable. A lifespan of 130,000 years. You ordinary blacksmith. Truly, my immortality has lasted for 100,000 years. The most perfect, ultimate honor and disgrace of life. As long as you are sacrificed. Awaken my Lord Soul and Heavenly Pillar. The true body can attain true immortality. Living as long as heaven. Hearing the mad voice of the Supreme Jingyan Commander, the disciples of the Divine Weapon Pavilion present, their faces turned ashen. In the face of this peak wave of the 7 divine transformation stage, they are like ants. Even moving a finger was a bit difficult. And Yi Qingge beside me, then she took a closer look at the pair of men who were amazed and memorable. Under the golden mask, extremely cruel, and some eyes that were incredibly familiar. His body was in an instant. She trembled violently. Endless hatred, pain. In that instant, his reason was completely torn apart. It's you, it's you. Yi Qingge's eyes welled up, instantly moistened. His voice became somewhat life or death tribulation. You killed my father. He stole my family's treasure. The treasured treasure of my family. My people. Demon. Yi Qingge lost her mind. Furious and bitter, he was about to charge at the golden-faced Supreme. His delicate body, under intense hatred, it emitted a faint, dazzling heavenly eagle radiance. A little bug that overestimates itself. The Supreme Shock sneered relentlessly, with a casual wave of his hand, a mass of dark red all over, exuding an extremely sinister and eerie phobia. A drama that instantly transcends the void. With overwhelming power, he slapped fiercely toward Yi Qingge. The power of that palm strike, even with mid-stage original sound mirror experts present, would definitely be forcibly erased by him in an instant. Clear song, step back. Master is here. Even the gods and Buddhas of the myriad heavens would never be able to touch you. I slowly raised my right hand, clenching his fist. I slowly raised my right hand. Clench your fists tightly. The 9 nether heavenly palace technique within his body. In that instant, a complete reversal. The 9 netherworld's pillar is supernatural. Wanjia is unhappy. Burns for 30,000 years of lifespan. Break it for me. Boom. As the command in my mind was dropped, the lifespan stored within my body. In an instant, 30,000 years have been gone. 30,000 years. For anyone in this world, these are astronomical numbers that could survive countless eras. And when this unimaginably vast life foundation, in an instant, when it completely turns into combat fuel and burns up, that overwhelming power. This has already surpassed the understanding of this vanguard line. Thunderous behind me, rising from the ground. Every inch of Fashiyang's skin flowed with the noble divine patterns of the supreme of the 99s. That huge fist, facing the descending dark red giant palm, a punch was thrown. When a single sound is deafening, the entire divine weapon pavilion island cracked open in an instant after countless crisp collisions of 100-meter giant fissures, resounding throughout the forbidden land. Under this punch, the golden-faced Supreme won. The Golden Mask Supreme's proud nascent soul palm seal. The moment he touched the golden fist, covered in golden flames, silently melting away, purified into clusters of pure white auspicious clouds. This power, already surpassing incarnation. That's impossible. You're clearly just a blacksmith. The golden-faced Supreme for the first time. Beneath the mask, he showed extreme fear and panic. He retreated more than 10 steps in a row, a pair of hands tightly clutching the sleeves. His whole body trembled. My expression was cold. He took a step forward. In an instant, he fell into midair. I looked down from above. The great protector of eternal life. The golden-faced Supreme. Today, I'll let you know what is real. Shenfan, there is a difference. I pointed with my right hand, the divine diagram of the pillar of heaven and earth in the void. When I felt the immense true face of the 9 nether heavenly palace within me, it actually felt a bit like the smoke returning to its home. Let out an excited cry. Some of them automatically curled up. It transformed into a golden orange all over. It radiates the aura of infinite heavenly palace creation. Ancient divine hammer. It landed in the hands of my massive pillar god technique box. 9 nether heavenly palace. A strike of heaven and earth. I will be destroyed. I have no waste. A massive 9 nether pillar divine technique box. He raised the ancient divine hammer inside him, formed from the heaven and earth pillar divine diagram, facing the golden-faced Supreme on the ground. A hammer. It crashed down with a thunderous crash. This strike, the wind stopped. Lei is on the hook. The spiritual energy fluctuations between heaven and earth. Complete silence fell. Only that purple gold divine staff, thousands of meters long, carrying pure golden flames of life. He forcibly shattered half the void into pieces. No, my lord saves me. The golden-faced Supreme let out a desperate and sharp wail. On him, that golden epiphyllum mark spun wildly. He wanted to summon that supreme divine avatar again. But here, I have merged with the survivors who are immune to all calamities. The universe that had burned 30,000 years of his lifespan was erased with a single strike. That faint demonic flame. He couldn't even hold on for a moment when a loud sound echoed through the entire immortal realm's mid-floor. The sound of the Chichi calls, echoing among the ruins. At the moment the ancient divine hammer fell, all the defenses on the golden-faced Supreme, his dark gold slide, his golden mask, his nascent soul's 7 primordial spirits, even those somewhat malicious life shoes inside him. In an instant, it was completely melted by the golden flame of life. There was no river of blood, no cruelty of execution, only endless golden divine light completely obliterated him. His soul was illuminated by divine light. All evil and filth have been shed. It transformed back into a vast expanse of primordial spiritual energy from heaven and earth. A bit mild, it spilled over this realm of divine weapons that had just suffered from the ravages of war. Those whose cultivation and lifespan have been drained dry. Some of the divine weapon pavilion disciples were on the verge of death. Nourished by this pure spiritual energy, lifespan and cultivation within the body, it began to recover at a miraculous speed. It was even a bit better than before. and that one is full of evil. He destroyed the Yi family. The good that has won countless lives for immortality will shock the wealthy and fall in love. In that instant, it turned into a sky full of golden dust. It completely vanished between heaven and earth. Not a single trace was left behind. The dust settled. Golden light filled the sky, transformed into illusory concentrations. Golden light filled the sky, transforming into illusory golden epiphyllums, dissipating into nothingness. Yi Qingge knelt down on the ground, looking at the man in shock who had turned to dust. 2 lines of blue tears, slowly slipping down. Father. Master. He was crying uncontrollably, but amid the cries, the previous hatred and struggle were gone. Only remained endless relief and liberation. Jiyu Shishua ran over. He held Yi Qingge tightly. Her big eyes were also filled with tears. No more crying. In the future, there will be a master. We have it. We're your closest family. Liu Ruyan also put away the light earth creation sword. He walked over to Yi Qingge's side. He gently patted her shoulder. I slowly landed on the ground. My face was slightly pale. The lifespan reserves within the body. There are exactly 104,512 years left. Although this time the consumption was enormous, but the 9 nether golden furnace within me. He absorbed the indestructible fire seed. He received the complete recognition of the Qianquan Pillar Divine Disciple. It was the complete recognition of the Qianquan Pillar Divine Disciple. The ultimate evolution has been completed. Now, every time I forge an ordinary iron sword, can extend lifespan. It has already surged for a full month. This means I just need to quietly forge for a year. My lifespan could skyrocket to tens of thousands of years, even millions of years. Great perfection. This is the real thing. Longevity is the great perfection. Ouyang Wandao, the master of the divine weapon pavilion, half kneeling among the ruins. The immortal power within his body gradually recovered. Thank you, ancestor, for saving my divine weapon pavilion, to save all living beings in the immortal realm. From now on, our divine weapon pavilion looks up to the ancestor as his horses led. The words of the old ancestor. He was then the highest magistrate of my pavilion, the grand progenitor. I smiled slightly. Pavilion Master Ouyang was too harsh. Saving the people is nothing. I'm just a protector. As for the title of ancestor, I've tried it many times but I'm not interested. I still like it. Quietly be a blacksmith. Quietly be a blacksmith. I took back the Qianquan dwelling divine map. He hung it back onto the forbidden stone wall once again. With this picture, the causality is hidden. In this world, no one will ever find my heavenly secret anymore, and that so-called immortal soul. After losing the refining grand protector and all the elites, Wu Ai will be killed at the joint corner between Ling Xiaotian and the Divine Weapon Pavilion, completely reduced to ashes. Half a month later, Tiangong City. That route was a bit remote. On what was once an unremarkable poor neighborhood, an old shop called Lingji Blacksmith Shop, under the morning sun's glow, the sign was hung up again. Clang, 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 clang. Early morning, accompanied by the crisp and somewhat wonderful sound of hammering. I was wearing a somewhat old coarse cloth long gown, holding a heavy black iron hammer, sweating profusely. He was tapping beside the red charcoal fire. Lifespan increases by 30 days. Lifespan increases by 30 days. Mao Haizhong, a crisp system notification sound, like a wonderful technical device, constantly jumping upward. Master, the water boiled. Today, Shui learned how to make your favorite Junshan silver fungus. Quickly try it. Jiyu Shishua wore 2 cute twin ponytails, holding a pot of horsetail, holding a pot of fragrant tea. Her big eyes smiled into crescent moons. Like Yang. Your pure annihilation sword technique today. His steps were a bit off. Sword energy must be restrained. Do not let the wind leak out. Liu Ruyan sheathed the Azure Emperor's painted sword. He wiped the actor on his forehead with his embroidered robe. Sister Qingge, your fresh rhythm is just too fast. Ruyan's sword was starting to lag behind. The 2 women were playfully playing. Laughter and joy filled the shop. It radiates endless warmth. I put down the heavy mouth in my hand. He took the teacup Jiyu Shishua handed him. He took a gentle sip. A gentle breeze brushed my face. The scent of peach blossoms is refreshing. This is my life. Ling Fan. I have countless years to live. He possesses heavenly abilities renowned throughout the immortal realm. But I am still just a blacksmith. Amid this crisp and warm sound of hammering, among these 3 are as beautiful as flowers, accompanied by a gentle and virtuous female disciple, will be in this mortal immortal realm, develop slowly, quietly living forever, until the end of time, eternal eternity.